Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens, Eagle Gardens one on Instagram, and this is fucking talking shit with Eagle episode 425. Man, do I got a good one for you guys tonight. I've been looking forward to speaking with this gentleman, forward to speaking to this gentleman for some time, and finally the opportunity has arisen. Mr. Rick Risden, how you
Yes,
doing,
sir.
my friend? You want to go ahead and say hello? How you doing? And tell us first off where you can find you if they don't know already.
Got you. Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. I'm on it's Lime Rising Farms Nick on Instagram, and that lime is Lyme. Um, I heard I have a private account, so if it takes me a minute to accept the request, I'm just real cautious with that stuff. But Lime Rising Farms Nick is us on Instagram.
Well, like I was saying before the show, it is a pleasure to have you tonight, man. If anybody has a great cannabis story with some true meaning and impact, it has to be you, my friend. It has to be you. So
I appreciate that, man.
I'm
I
honored
appreciate getting a
to have
chance.
you here tonight, and very honored to hear your story.
Um, well, shoot, my story's long. I got into cannabis. I'm from Kentucky. If you can't tell by the accent, I live in Michigan now. I want to state that very clearly. I'm in a legal, safe state. Everybody still seems to think I'm back and forth into Kentucky. I'm 100% staying in Michigan. Um, my cannabis story, man. I grew up in a town called Mercer County, Kentucky. Uh, these are small towns, 12, 15,000 people. We border Washington County, Danville, which would be a larger city at 30,000 people. Um, Washington County, Lawrenceburg, Bardstown, all that right around in there. It's where my farm in Kentucky, I still own my farm. I got 29 acres there. I'm like 3.5 miles from Four Roses Distillery, um, 14 miles from Wild Turkey, 20 minutes from Willett. So that's kind of the background and where I grew up in a major bourbon distilling area and very small agricultural communities. Um, and through that, rise of the cornbread mafia in the early 70s. Farmers that were tired of not making anything farming and went out and put in cash crops when they came back from Vietnam and things of that nature. Those guys, I considered legends growing up. My family members involved and everything else. 1989, 77 of them were indicted on countless charges. I mean, Johnny Boone got caught with 13 tons of marijuana in '89. I mean, it was just different, large pending investigations. The largest syndicated marijuana group in American history. They took them all down and nobody spoke. None. Nobody talked. And that's the people I come from, and that's the people I grew up on this plant with. Now I got introduced to it when I was 13 years old back in 1993. Um, Smoking weed with buddies, during the summer before freshman year, or eighth grade year. And that's just kind of how it was. Our daddies grew weed, our uncles grew weed, everything else, everything was hush hush. You kept everything to yourself. Um, and I kind of got into it a lot more. It was my jam as a kid. I was already growing at 96, at 16. Um, I was out with some older men that I apprenticed under, and mainly was just hauling water and shit like that then, and learning the ropes and different stuff. By the time I was 19, I went off to Bible college, studied theology and stuff, dropped out, went back to growing. I was already growing then. I was only, there was 4 kids out of this Bible college. There was like 700 students. There was 4 kids that smoked reefer, and I found all 4 of them within 3 days of starting at that college. And this was 1999. And I dropped out, and marijuana was my jam. I mean, I had a amazing connection for Kentucky outdoor grown, and a major connection on Mexican brickweed back then. And I got back then, people forget, from that era, Mexican brickweed was expensive back then, $1,000, $1,500 a pound. I was a kid, I was getting that shit for $250 a pound. And it was just kind of wide open for me. And I was growing indoors, started around 2000 or 99, right around that time. Growing clone onlys from Kentucky, things like that. I had a family member that spent prison time in Terre Haute, Indiana with Howard Marks, Mr. Nice Seed Bank back in the day. So we had some seeds from that. Williams Wonder, different stuff that we had in Kentucky. We were working back then. And fast forward 3 years later, in 2003, I get caught with the largest indoor marijuana grow room in Kentucky's history. Now, this is 2003. I only had 6 1,000 waters in the flower room. But back then, that was a huge, huge operation. I'm facing 40 years. I'm young. I'm 23. I'm married at the time. I try to get out of the country, try to go up to Canada, get caught at the Vancouver border, ship my ass all the way back to Kentucky. I got sentenced to 5 years. Never been in trouble before. I got shocked out after a year and a half and on parole for 7. And that's when dogs had already been a part of my life. At that point, protection dogs and different stuff that we did. But once I got out of prison, I'm on parole. I mean, they took everything. I'm not married anymore. Everything's gone. You're paying all this money on parole supervision fees, on drug test fees, everything else. Like, they're taking $250 a week. I'm making $312. I'm sitting in parole one day, and this old cat that knew my daddy comes in there, and he just got out of the penitentiary, and it was his first check-in. And I'm sitting there, and I'm happy to see him. I'm like, yo, what's up, man? And showing my respect to an old timer. And he's asking me how I'm doing since I've been out. I'm telling him this job situation sucks, making $7 an hour, driving an hour and a half one way to work, and giving the government all my money to pay off fines and fees and probationary and parole supervision and blah, blah, blah. And this guy's like, man, you got to set up your own job. He said, I've been out for 2 days. My asphalt company is already LLC'd. I'm my own boss. I have a job. They can't do nothing about that. They have to base my payments to them based off that. I'm like, I didn't know shit about dog training. I had a buddy that trained all my protection dogs and other guys' protection dogs back then. And I'm like, all right. I printed off dog training cards. I got with him and did a little apprenticing, not much. Dogs were also my jam. And that's where I devoted my life. And at this point, I'm in 2006, 2007, and it's all about dogs for me. I'm on strict parole, weekly supervision, drug test every week. I get to smoke a joint, maybe once every 3 months, and just hit it like a couple times. So it was a whole different process. I just got into dogs. It was all about German Shepherds, pit bulls, as much dog training as I could do. And met up with this older lady who was very well known for raw feeding dogs and veterinary special stuff. And she kind of took me on, taught me a lot about canine anatomy and different stuff like that. And she forced me to enter this AKC Obedience National Champion. Well, actually, at the time, it was just the entry, the Blue Glass Classic. And it was 4 days. I went in unknown to all these dog training. It's a huge click type of thing. And I won all 4 events for 4 days. It never happened before. High and trial every day. One day she had a perfect score. This was Brooklyn Von Rosenhaus, one of the first dogs I bred. That kind of catapulted me instantly overnight as a dog trainer and a nationally kind of known dog trainer. And I devoted my time to it, man. It was all I could do. So it was just me and dogs. I got into Schutzen, started importing dogs from Germany. I'm titled 30-something dogs over a 15-year career and doing German Shepherds and breeding dogs and things of that nature. At some point, I get off parole. And at this point, me and my probation, I was like, I'm not getting piss tested for the last 2 years. I'm back to full-time smoking. I put a couple 3-4 plants out each year. Different things like that. I'm keeping things. I'm focused on my training business. Everything's going good. Staying in Kentucky, I'm traveling all over the country training people's dogs. Single, it was a good life. Everything was fine. Fast forward 4 years ago, I'm on my farm in Kentucky. I'm having a seminar. I've got about 18 women there from multiple states on tracking and competition obedience. We're doing protection stuff, but we're really focusing on tracking that weekend. And I had been tracking a lot going up in that. I got a dog that's competing in these tracks. I mean, it's footstep to footstep. You're out in weeds. I'm born and raised Kentucky. I've been bit by a billion ticks growing up. It was never a big deal. Well, we're out tracking. I step off the track to go use a bathroom. I notice 2 freckles on my thigh. It's ticks. I flip them off. No big deal. Go back to it. 5-6 days later, I'm in the ICU. And I contracted Powassan virus, which I was the 75th case in the world's history since 1908 of Powassan virus. Never been a case in Kentucky. It went into meningitis and then encephalitis, meningococcal infection, where my brain swelled, Lyme disease, meningitis, and then a multitude of parasites: Babesia, Bartonella, rickets, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, spotted tick fever. All this shit starts blowing up all over these tests that are coming back out of New England, because where I've got meningitis in Kentucky, the hospital had locked me down in a secure location. Certain meningitis can be viral. And before they figured this out, that it all came from ticks, I was locked down. At some point during all this, when I first got in there, they gave me prednisone, steroid. They thought the meningitis was different. That prednisone sent me into a rage and aggression I can't begin to describe, but it actually saved my life. I didn't go into a coma. And most people with the Powassan virus, they go into a coma, and they never wake up. And the few that do, they break down neurologically in the next 2 years, and it's just what happens. I'm still alive, 4 years going into it, which is kind of a medical oddity, and I attribute that to cannabis. When I got sick, and I just had brain surgery like 2 weeks ago. So if I get rambling on the wrong subject, you can draw me back in. But when I got sick, I still believed in hospitals and doctors. I'd never really been sick. You grow up thinking like doctors are going to help you. Doctors know what to do. In this situation, doctors did not know what to do. They fucking experimented on me to ways that were not appropriate. At one point, I was on 71 medications a day. Even and at the time, gullible, stupid, 4 years ago, following the advice of doctors. Even if some of those medications were working, we would never know. They were all cross counteracting with each other, everything else. So I go out my pocket and I pay the world's leading infectious disease on tick-borne illnesses. First check was $43,000. Second check was $43,000. I think the last one was like $80,000 to get treatment. I've got a port still to this day, is in my chest, that kind of is right there, that the IV gets set into for me to run fluids or run medicine when I need to. But cannabis is my medicine. I was listening to your one with Mean Gene from Mendocino, who is a friend of mine and just somebody that I'm real close with. So I was checking out his interview, and he was talking on there how he slowed down on cannabis use. He gets high now, and I wish to God I could. I have to take on the average day between 3,000 and 4,000 milligrams of RSO. That's per day, every day. Now I developed that system once I got sick. Actually, the doctor in Washington, D.C., when I got seen by the NIH and then the CDC, and then the doctor in D.C. recommended CBD oil. This was 4 years ago, and I'm having seizures, like a couple hundred a week, man. And I mean, you go from healthy to this. I was so sick. I went down to 98 pounds from 180. My fiance, she had to do everything. I couldn't walk. I had to be bathed. I had to be set on the back on the toilet. Everything. It was very bad. So there was no dog training anymore. And everybody, family, friends, are scrambling to figure out what to do to keep me alive. At some point, my doctor in DC recommended CBD oil. I'm smoking, but I've got anaplasmosis in my lungs, so it's hard to smoke. Um, I leave Kentucky, and I got a friend from high school that lives in Michigan. He had a medical card, and I called him, got a hold of him, and I'm like, hey, man, I mean, because 4 years ago, you still couldn't get CBD, not even in Kentucky. Um, so Shannon drove me up here. Um, we went to a dispensary in Ann Arbor. My buddy used his, we go in, and this place has like a raw juice bar, and they put CBD in the juice. Well, I don't have a medical card, so I can't go in the back with this lady. And at the time, man, I have to wear sunglasses at all times. I'm swerving where my brain swelled. I have light sensitivity issues. This lady gives me this raw juice thing with 50 milligrams of CBD in it. And Shannon touches me a couple seconds later, and she says, "You're not shaking," because I was so spastic all the time, rigid through muscle stuff, that I almost looked like I was blind in the way that I constantly moved my body through shaking. And when she said that, I pulled my sunglasses down to look, and I noticed the light wasn't hurt my eyes. And this was instant onset, 30 seconds after I took the CBD. The first time I had consumed it. So my buddy's in the back. He's getting me some flour, but I also asked him to grab me this Rick Simpson oil I've been studying up on and killing cancer cells and stuff. But I thought about using it for my stuff. So he brings that out. I remember we leave there and we smoke a couple joints, and I take these tinctures and everything. We go back to his house, and then we go to eat, and I ate an entire small pizza by myself. And at the time, I could only eat crackers, things like that. And even Shannon was amazed that I could eat like that. So RSO then became very, very important to me. My health started getting better. I mean, I'm still fucked up to this day, but not like I was initially in the beginning. Drilling on myself in a wheelchair, not able to communicate, pointing at things, very fucked up. And so the RSO, man, I go back into Kentucky, and I don't do nothing easy. I mean, whether it's picking bourbon barrels for distilleries, training dogs, or anything else, if it's got my interest, I'm going full bore. And so I'm studying everything I can. And where my brain is fucking injured, and I can't hold on to retain knowledge, I got to study 10 times harder than anybody else. And I've got all these books, all these NIH and CDC codes on tick viruses, illnesses. I'm studying the NIH. You can go on, anybody can go onto the NIH archives and study stuff. It's all put out in there. I'm studying things that kill bacteria, different shit. I'm finding terpenes that kill bacteria. Still research on marijuana killing cancer cells in the 70s, that they have all this different stuff. And I'm trying to apply this shit. And I'm trying to use it to help politicians. Matt Daley, politician in Kentucky, Democrat, Secretary of State's office, Allison Lundgren Grimes, they were fighting for medical marijuana in Kentucky. And my story was a story that they used. So now I'm at the Capitol every day, sick as fuck, using my story to try to get this shit approved. And while I'm going to Washington, D.C. every other week to get IV medications ran on me, driving or flying back to Kentucky, just to try to fight for medical marijuana for other sick people and trying to stay alive. Not working anymore. And these treatments are astronomically crazy. I've sold off extra houses, cars, everything I had. I had a stupid shoe collection back then, bourbon, like 90 fucking Pappy Van Winkle bottles, different stuff like that. I let all that stuff go. Shannon's working, handling everything. I was a great grower back in the day. Still dabbled around with it and everything. And at that point, I'm like, man, this is the only way I can take care of myself. I couldn't even afford the RSO. At the time I was coming up to Michigan, I was getting it from a dispensary. It was costing me $90 a gram. I'm going through 4 grams a day. on top of the medical treatments. So I decided to move up here. Sick as fuck. I find a little house in Saginaw that's cheap as hell. I purchased it outright. Shannon stays on the farm up there, and I move up here by myself, sick as fuck, and grow my 12 plants and keep studying. Going to Washington, D.C. every 2 weeks. Shannon gets up here every week to see me on the weekends because we still had a lot of dogs. We couldn't just up and pack everything up. And when it failed in Kentucky, fighting for the medical marijuana, I'd outed myself in the courtroom. I'm a persistent felony offender on growing marijuana. Because the day I got busted, I got pulled over in Indiana in 2003. So I caught charges in Indiana and Kentucky the same day. So I get caught with any marijuana in Kentucky, that PFOs me, and that's an automatic 10-year bid. That's the reason I had to get the fuck out of Kentucky once it failed, fighting for it in the capital. So I move up here to Michigan, and I'm lucky. I got a lot of homies. I got a lot of support. Duke Diamond at the time has helped me convert everything. I'd always been a salt grower for the most part, synthetics, converting everything over to organics while I continued my research. And at some point, which is why I love these podcast shit like you do, everybody else does. At some point up there, I'm trying to restudy everything. And like I said, when my brain's fucked up, I got to study 10 times harder than anybody else. I'm listening to some podcast, and Shango Los is talking to Mean Gene from Mendocino, and this was 3.5 years ago. And they're talking about terpenes, and they're talking about powdery mildew resistant strains. And I have this light bulb go off in my head. Well, powdery mildew is a fungus. Well, how can one plant be powdery mildew resistant while it's sitting by another plant that is not powdery mildew resistant? And they're talking about the Royal Kush number 7. And I'm thinking, okay, if this plant is strong enough to kill off mold and fungal properties, then I can use this, because I had a mold infection, with the Lyme disease, everything else, and from the ticks. I'm going to try to use this specific strain to break down into breaking down bacteria inside of me, from the parasites and all of that. So I got on a plane. I flew out to California. I went to the not One Log Treehouse. What the hell? Wonderland Nursery. I bought a Royal Kush 7 clone. I went out to the dispensary in Humboldt, bought some weed from Mean Gene from Mendocino, and flew back before Shannon ever knew that I flew to California, because she would have lost her shit. I was real sick, and I just had this idea on this Royal 7. And I ran her out. Only had one plant, took many clones off of, ran her out. And I ran the whole plants in the RSO. And at this point, I'm running all plants individually in RSO to see which one works better. And they're all different. Not all RSO is the same. Kosher Kush, you can give it to me blind, RSO wise, and it makes me hungry. There are other strains that will never make me hungry. There are strains do different things, even for pain, even for energy. I got some TKNL5 haze and some different strains of Mac from Capulator that I run for RSO in the morning, because it gives me energy, wakes me up and gets me going. But I get into this Royal 7 and I start running, and I'm having amazing transformation like in 2 weeks at this point running this strain. I'm gaining weight like crazy. My memory is coming. I'm herxing. It's a term Lyme disease people understand. This strain is killing off bacteria. The bacteria is still left inside of me because it's dead. You got to flush it out. I've never herxed to this level off any antibiotics that I did off the Royal Kush 7 strain. And I kept pushing through. And if there's any Lyme disease people that watch this, I need to tell y'all, don't be scared of the herx. I know all of you are. You cannot be scared of the herx. And for those that don't understand what I'm talking about, killing off the bacteria inside of you hurts to levels that I could only explain of like taking a hammer and smashing fingers or joint pain. If you don't flush that dead bacteria out of you, you go toxic from the inside. So I hit 6 points of detox every day. So I pushed myself through that real kush. I built my tolerance up to where I could take 3,000, 4,000 milligrams, not 5 milligrams like edibles, stuff like that. But to get up to that level, to really killing things off, I take 1,200 milligrams of CBD a day, not one drop of full. I take 1,200 milligrams. That's what controls things. But as I get into this, I'm still visiting the doctors in Washington, D.C. My lab results are coming back better. And the doctors in DC are like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm breaking it down for them. Now, these people are still not fully, doctors fully behind marijuana and things. And I changed a lot of doctors in DC's views and perceptions of this. I also studying through the NIH, and you find out that osmine, a common terpene in marijuana, and transneuralidol kill bacteria. Also, neem, stuff from the tea tree oil, just different. I mean, this information is right on NIH. Anybody can get on there right now, start Googling this stuff. So I go through all this information, man. And on top of the RSO, I'm taking osmine, I'm taking transneuralidol, I'm cooking down strains with osmine and transneuralidol. I get a Sunshine Daydream strain from Happy Little Tree Company that is full of transneuralidol. I start running it in conjunction with a Royal. And this is all my research. Then I fly my ass out to fucking Emerald Cup. And that was 3.5 years ago. If my time's off on this, I had brain surgery brain screwing around in there like 2 weeks ago at the hospital. So I apologize if I'm a year off or 2 years off. I fly out to the Emerald Cup because I'm damn convinced that I'm going to find this Shango Los guy. I'm going to find this Mean Gene from Mendocino guy. And I'm going to find this Kevin Jodrey guy. Because Kevin Jodrey, I start listening to his videos. This dude is the smartest individual I've ever listened to talk. Also, you can tell if anybody's a real hustler, and you can tell when you're listening to another real hustler. And this dude is so intelligent. He's breaking down these powdery mildew shit, and he's all connected through Mean Gene and the Rule 7 and Mandelbrot and Emerald Mountain. And I'm convinced to go out there and see these guys with my doctors and nurse to show them unequivocally this is working, and I have proof, and I'm the only person with this. And out of the thousands of medications they tried out on me, all the antibiotics, everything they did, RSO from Roll Kush and CBD was helping me more than anything. So I remember walking up to Mean Gene's booth. I waited in line, walked up, broke out all this data, lab reports, everything. And this dude's like, and he goes to his buddy. He's like, yo, man, come here. And I talked to his buddy about this. I've got my nurse with me. She, infectious disease nurse. She's 60 years old. She's trying to explain all this stuff to people because she's fascinated. She's seen it help me. Now I've already put this protocol into multiple other Lyme patients, not people that had the Powassan and everything that I had, but just Lyme disease, neurological Lyme. And my doctor was able to get 18 patients off IV antibiotics, through running the same protocol I was doing. I get up and pace right now. Like I got neurological issues with my legs. It helps for me to walk when I get like that. So she's explaining this to Mean Gene, to Ben from Emerald Mountain, to Kevin Jodrey, to Shango Lo. Or no, I hadn't connected with Shango yet. And we have unequivocal medical data to back all this up. And so when I leave there, I actually have real connections. Mean Gene, different people actually hand over a lot of seeds to me to run through to try. Powdery mildew resistant strains, pina, different things of that nature, man. These people kind of took me under their wing at that point. Mean Gene, Ben from Emerald Mountain, Kevin Jodrey, yada, yada. So on this same trip, my fiance, and this is one of the funniest stories I'll ever tell. My fiance does not smoke cannabis. She gave up her whole life as an insurance agent, everything else to move up. My fiance is one of the greatest marijuana growers in the world. And she's not moved up here to do all this stuff just to help me out medically. And she's following these people, Dragonfly Earth Medicine. And she's like, yo, they got a teepee there. You should go out and talk to them, man. I'm around all these hippies and organic people, man. I'm not fucking like that. You know, I'm half gangster and just not giving a fuck. Um, and I don't want to know how to walk up and talk to people like like hippies, like hippie hippies, you know, like, hey, what's up? My name's Nick. I'm sick. Um, I need to meet you all type of thing. It's just not my MO. But I needed to. And I kept walking past this teepee and I'm getting this vibe. There's all these people out there smiling and happy. And like, there's this energy from this tent. And all I wanted to do was to go over there. And I finally got up the nerve. And it's funny, Josh walked up to me first. I didn't know who he was. And he gave me a big hug, like, hello, brother. You know, like, welcome to our place. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Just like, hello, brother, you know, and everything. It wasn't 10 minutes later, this dude's got me crying on his shoulder. You know, I mean, that's the power of Josh and Kelly. They introduced me to everybody in this tent, or TP, you know, and this is Nick. He has come to, you know, find out, you know, more about certain strains that will help his condition, blah, blah, blah. Sitting in that tent, I never spoke to him, but sitting in that tent was Joshua Rutherford from Dutch Blooms. Sitting beside me was a dude named Kenny from Eagle Tree Farms up in Washington State. These are all dim pure people. And Kenny was like, yo, I hear you got a love for Royal Kush. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm showing him some of the data and he's blown away. And he reaches into his pocket and he's like, here's these 2 Royal Kush crosses I created. You know, and I walk up to, I mean, it was just a magical weekend like that where people were seeing real medical data and I'm seeing a different side of life. Organics, hippies, love, happiness, just something that I hadn't experienced. It was the greatest trip I had ever taken to that point. So I link up with all these people and I'm running out these seeds. I'm trying these strains out and I'm documenting all this. And my doctors are documenting this in DC. Sometime through all this stuff, I'm slowly getting better. And you would have to understand how bad I was. Even now, people see all I go through on Instagram. I'm still so much better, man. That at this point, my doctor's like, okay, I think we're done with the IV antibiotics, you know, in the beginning. And I went into remission from the Lyme disease. I put myself into remission on Lyme disease. It was that it's not the Lyme disease or the parasites. It's that they create other diseases in you and autoimmune issues. What I recently was dealing with was a cerebral spinal fluid leak, a brain leak that they had to fix. So it has been complicated. I've had 31 surgeries through all this shit, but I get up here, I'm testing this stuff out and I am getting better. I'm able to talk and communicate. I used to stutter. I couldn't speak at all. So things are getting better and doctors are taking research on it. And everything is going good in the world. And I had to go back to Kentucky at this point. I've been up here for about a year. I have a major surgery going on. They're going to remove my gallbladder in Kentucky, and they are checking on, you know, my seizures and those neurological episodes. So I'm in the ICU at Central Baptist in Lexington, Kentucky. This is November 2019. Now I need to point out beforehand, I train dogs. Lexington police bought a lot of dogs off of me back in the day. A lot of these people knew who I was in Lexington, Kentucky. Everybody knew my story. Everybody knew my medical marijuana story. I go back to Kentucky and it's still all illegal there, but everybody knows what I'm about and that I'm taking my oil for me. I'm in ICU, connected on headwear, everything else, and going to have surgery the next day. I've been through brutal testing for 2 days. Some nurse tells a security guard that I have marijuana in my bag. It's at some point, security comes into my room. I mean, when I say I'm wired up, I got like 18 things into my head. They come in there trying to go in through my stuff. Now I've got 8 or 9 different types of RSO in my bag. To the untrained eye, shit probably looks like heroin. Just black tar in a syringe. I have them all labeled: Little Kush 7, Pina, Kosher Kush, different things for what I need. I also had 5 different bottles of CBD oil. Some of them had vitamins, some of them had ginseng. I had my myco caps from Dragonfly Earth Medicine. I take 12 a day, with all the legal mushrooms, cordyceps, lion's mane, all that. Well, man, they start going through my bag. I get fucking angry. Well, they send 7 police officers in there where I get my brains beat in for 2 hours in the ICU. And I videotape the first 10 minutes of it before the phone gets knocked out of my hands. At some point, it got put on Facebook, the first part, and everybody came up to the hospital. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. They realized in a moment, I had long hair and a beard. If I could put up a picture of what I looked like before I got sick, military haircut, very stout. And I had a Michigan driver's license. So they didn't even think I was Nick Risden. They thought it was some guy from Michigan had marijuana in their bag, and they were just going to manhandle him in that room and not give a shit, not show any compassion, no empathy to a guy that's in ICU. And I fought back as much as I could. They had me handcuffed, picked me up, slammed me on my head. I went into multiple more seizures, busted me up, jerked the port out of my chest that was connected. And about 2 hours later, they realized they fucked up who I was, that I trained their dogs, that people were there demanding me to be released, demanding to know what would happen. Hospital officials were involved at this point. It was real bad. And I had it on video. They allowed my brother to take me off there, took the handcuffs off, tried to get me to sign a waiver, all this different stuff. And man, I can't explain how mentally. I heard me and Gene on here talking earlier about having a little bit of PTSD. I never believed in PTSD till that day. I got out of the hospital. Joe Keith Bickett, one of the heads of the Cornbread Mafia, went during his 22, 23 years in prison, became a legal aid, lawyer's aid. I got out of the hospital, went straight to Joe Keith. The Bicketts are family to me. I went straight to Joe Keith. I mean, emotionally broken down, been beating in the ICU when I was 125 pounds. The next step I did was I got the fuck out of Kentucky that day. And I didn't know how mentally broken down I was until I got back to Kentucky. I put the washer and dryer against the door, and that ended me doing anything with doctors right then in one fell swoop. All the research I'd done, all the work with doctors in DC, everything, it was over. I didn't trust doctors. I didn't trust people. I didn't allow Shannon to touch me for 3 months. I kind of went into my little home in Saginaw and I didn't leave. I went off all medications. I just use RSO, just use myco caps, Trade Water Organics, Dr. Green Sky. They make me medicine, Eclectic Alchemy, Dragonfly Earth Medicine. So it was them 3 I focused on, and I tried to mentally heal. We got Dim Pure certified up here in Michigan. I bought a farm. Shannon moved up. We got Dim Pure certified, all through organics and stuff. And that's pretty much the gist of like that's the fast version of my story. And I know we went on here for, probably 40 minutes straight of me talking. Getting sick I was always in cannabis, but getting sick brought me back to it. When I came back to it, I didn't tell anybody who I was or what I'd done in the past or who family members were. Cornbread Mafia shit. I kept my mouth shut. I was a sick guy. I was trying to get better. Now, through growing over the last 4 years and everything, and started doing my own breeding with Dutch Blooms. That's my breeding partner. He also has like the Regenerative Seed Company. He's Dutch Blooms on Instagram. I met him at one of the regenerative conferences 3 years ago, and man, we instantly linked up, like just vibed instantly. We talk every day on the phone, FaceTime, do selections together. Kevin Jodry has been my mentor through this shit. I call him that. I'm just somebody he has to put up with. But the dude has been tremendous to me. Knowledge and generosity, compassion and empathy that Kevin Jodry, Minjin from Minnesota, Dragonfly Earth Medicine, certain people in this cannabis community have shown me. Um, I can't put it into words. I then took that research, tried to help other Lyme disease people. Now, as I'm getting better, I went through a bout this year with this brain stuff that had me set back mentally. I couldn't figure out what was going on. They've got that kind of under control, and me and Josh, we just focus on breedings. I can't train dogs no more. I can't compete with dogs anymore, especially with the port in my chest. I'm also neurologically not okay, so I stumble a lot in high level competition obedience. I can't do that, and I need to put that passion into something. And me and Dutch Bloom's been breeding together for 2 years, and it just gives me something to focus on. So we're permanently in Michigan now. We purchased a farm, stay up here. We bought it right before the COVID scare. I went out, spent about a month in Humboldt and in Denver with friends right before COVID happened. Then we found this house and we got moved up here, and then we just kind of locked down in here together. And I've got a certain style of growing organically or growing with hugelkultur pits and things that I do. And got back into it back in the day, guerrilla growing in Kentucky. It's fucking 98, 99 degrees in Kentucky during the summer, 100% humidity. I mean, it's just fucking brutal. You are not packing 5-gallon buckets up mountainsides, everything else. Old timers taught me you dig a big hole, you throw a bunch of soft, rotten logs in there, that when it rains, they'll fluff up with all that water. And on the hot days, it will slowly release all that water. So still to this day, whenever I was planting plants, I always threw logs down in the ground. And I got introduced to hugelkultur 3 years ago through the Pure network and all that. And they go real raised bed style, layering and lasagna teching all that organic matter. Well, I still like to go deep into the ground. And Michigan ground is so different than Kentucky. You can take a bobcat up here and you can go 10 foot into this ground because it's just fucking sand. In Kentucky, you got clay and limestone, rocks the size of cars and everything. You can't build fence without it being an all-day encounter. Well, up here, I can take this bobcat and just eat this sand up. And I go deep, man, 6 to 10 foot on these hugelkultur pits and layer up, sequestering carbon, tons of greens, good built soil, native soil, biochar. Keep going up and keep repeating that process all the way up till I'm about 3 foot above the ground, about 7 foot below. And last year, I mean, with that style, we were able to pull some monsters. One of them's 25 foot tall. In this hugelkultur deep pit style. So that's really what I kind of focus on outdoor growing, working those type of methods, testing different lines. Testing lines that me and Dutch Blooms do together, going through Mean Gene from Mendocino shit, buddy stuff. I'm gonna let you talk for a second because I just get rambling with my brain injury, but that's kind of the gist of where I'm at now.
Man, it's a amazing story, man. I knew it was going to be an amazing story, by the way. And thank you for everything you've done, not just for yourself. You've laid a lot of groundwork for other people, medically with cannabis, and I can't thank you enough, man. I've stated so many times that I believe, cannabis I don't think should be legal, but man, if it were to go across the country straight to straight, I would like to see, medically go across before it comes across rec. But I'll take it either way, to be honest with you. But thank you for all the work you put in. Tragically had to put in myself. But thank you.
I appreciate that, man. And it's weird on Instagram. I get people they tell me stuff like, "Man, you're an inspiration. I don't look at myself as an inspiration. I had to stay alive, and I'm intelligent. I've got a brain. I've got a fucking phone in my hand that can Google anything in the world, figure it out, and try to apply this shit and stay alive because the doctors weren't cutting. And I think it's funny. I went to prison for this plant, and this plant ended up saving or stabilizing me. for the most part. I'm not perfect. I've got tons of medical issues still, but I'm stabilized. I'm up walking around. I'm moving. I try to work. I try to function. We garden, we farm, and we farm a lot. Everything from kale to beets to radishes to pumpkins to watermelons. I mean, it's through the PTSD and everything. I'm finding God and life and everything through nature. You stay outside, you stay with plants, you plant all kinds of stuff. You just have fun. I'm growing like 20,000 purple top turnips on my farm this year, and I just broadcast spread them everywhere. Put out about 4 bags, 50-pound bags of sunflower seeds. So I'm excited to see what this shit looks like in the fall. And it's just ways that I get out there to make myself happy. Seeing flowers, seeing colors, seeing plants make me happy. I went through a lot this winter with the brain stuff, and kind of the depression that come from having that many seizures while they were getting worked out. I was recently in Henry Ford on a brain study and brain work. All this stuff was posted on my Instagram, and they took RSO and they took all meds and everything for me, and had me strapped to a bed for 4 days with all these wires in me and testing all my brain waves. And I post all this shit, man, and it wasn't a good time for me in there. And on the last day, when they had all their major events, on Saturday, the doctor told me, she's like, you give me a major event tonight and we can let you go. Now, they take my RSO from me. They take my CBD oil from me, but they give me a beer and let me ride on the treadmill to stress myself to have a major seizure, which that's not FDA approved. Even though I'm in Michigan, even at the hospital, marijuana is still federally illegal. They won't let you use it. So I give her major seizures that night that she needed for her study. I pushed my body hard. And the next morning before I leave, she handed me my medicine. I took my medicine, still connected to all those brain waves, and 45 minutes later, my brain patterns were completely different. And I've documented and posted it on Instagram. I mean, it went from completely black screen to actually lines again. And they had me off of it for 4 days and gave it back. So I feel like that's why it instantly went to that level brain activity wise. But it wasn't just the RSO, it was the myco caps with the CBD, the reishi, chaga, lion's mane, cordyceps. All that went into my system. And then Trade Water Organics, they make me this supplement called Chill Out. It's just a lot of herbs and different stuff. It's a herbal value is what it is. Calm me the fuck down when I'm stressed. I took those as well. And the brain patterns were different to where I could have reached over and picked the doctor's jaw up and closed her mouth for her. And then I had a respect. And you could tell instantly, like, oh. And I kept telling these people, man, I'm the only one treating this shit, the only one that knows my body and has to go through this shit. Please listen to me. And now I kind of got carte blanche of any hospital, any doctors I want to look at this shit now. I'm getting it taken care of. I gave them enough events in there that were erratic and that they had never seen before that it just helped my cause, and it will help other people, especially dealing with these neurological issues that I deal with, and that I'm still talking. I should not be able to verbally communicate. I am functioning. They don't know why. Well, I know why. I keep explaining to them, but they don't want that as an answer. So that's a big thing, is you're having to go against education systems that have taught these people this, that they don't know what to do with the information that's now getting presented to them. So that's really kind of where I'm at right now. Go ahead.
It's nice to have you here in northern Michigan. In Michigan, by the way, I'm up here with you myself. I kind of was giggling when you're talking about digging in the ground. I ain't got nothing but sand up here. Yeah. Nothing but sand. I can feel your pain. I've thought about doing a little outside gardening here, but that is my challenge. My first year, I looked at this. I'm like, what the hell am I going to do with this? Yeah. But I've stayed indoors. Yeah, starting down the organics trail, and so Would you say the organics brought you to the hippie side? The hippie dippy side?
I think the love brought me to the hippy dippy side. Um, and I'm like half hippie, half thug. I would like to be all hippie because I'm trying to let all that aggression and negativity and all that stuff in my life go. Um, the love brought me to the hippie side. Josh and Kelly, the people I would meet at these organic regenerative cannabis events, the love that I was shown by these people, the love I watched them share amongst each other. The drama I see in the cannabis industry is, and I'm not saying the regenerative community don't have drama, but it's not the same. I don't want to participate in no drama. Head down, focus on goals, get my shit done, all that other, because I can't participate in drama because I don't know how to regulate myself. If we get into drama, I'm like going all the way, and I just don't need to deal with that shit. It takes me into seizures, and see, part of my seizures are neurologically speaking, are adrenal gland supported. I have to watch my emotions in every way. And it's tricky. I can get too happy or too sad, and that kick in seizures. Is very weird. So the hippies brought me peace and understanding, not just marijuana. Josh and Kelly, the first people I call when I need medical advice, mental advice. Dutch Bloom's the first person I call for everything. Compassion and empathy. That's what came from the hippies. And the organics, man, with my health, I couldn't have any toxins in my body. The worst thing I do is I still smoke a cigarette from time to time because old habits die hard. And everything else is as organic as I need to put everything into my body to recover and heal. They taught me that way of life. I didn't understand that. I'm from the South. I smoked 2 packs of cigarettes, drank a 5th of bourbon, ate at McDonald's every other day before I got sick. Like everything was deep fried, and that's the way it was. They changed my whole understanding of everything, and to incorporate that also into health. Gut health is just as important as everything else. So they teach me all these things, the herbal treatments, I get into the hippie stuff, and you get into some of this regenerative cannabis stuff and the microbes and the fungi, and these microbes and stuff are eating radiation, and they're using it in Chernobyl to clean stuff up. And Paul Stamets has got this whole video on this shit. I'm fascinated about it. I'm like, the more microbes I take in, I'm going to find the right microbes, kill the bad parasites and bacteria in me to get me at least moving. And that's what I've applied. Brandon Rust is a genius. Bokashi Earthworks, Brandon Rust on Instagram, on microbes and different stuff. Man, I take baths in labs, take baths in microbes. I hit 6 points of detox, different stuff like this to flush this stuff out. And if it wasn't for these hippies and from these soil and science nerds, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And they have slowly converted me into that way of thinking. I'm 100% organic on my farm. I was since 1996, a salt grower. Switched all that shit up over. And it wasn't easy. I mean, I can assure you, the first month and a half, and I'll pull them up at some point. Duke Diamond's original Instagram account was down, and our text messages and stuff. But like, I was curled into a ball, wanting to cry like a baby, switching clean over to organics. I was used to flushing cocoa, like flushing 20% out when I fertilize. And you don't want to do that shit with organics. 3.5 years ago, when I was switching over, and all my plants were clawed down. I was always a great grower, and I'm like, man, this shit is horrible. But you just got to get it dialed in. And then once you get it dialed in, you realize you don't have to dial shit in. It's so easy. You build your soil, you water it, and it just goes. I think I've spent like $1,300 total this year at a grow store in the last 12 months. And that's buying base soil, that I end up building up. I have my own biochar pits here, on worm beds. Just using all those resources, man. You got trees and leaf everywhere, and that's really what I need: trees, leaf, dirt. And you can layer all that shit in compost. Shannon, how many chickens do we have? I bet she don't even know. It's like 60, 70. I mean, there's a lot of fucking chickens out there. I got 4 different chicken coops, got 2 goats. Neighbors got 4 horses, 2 donkeys. I let them fence in part of my property to get all their waste. We're getting cattle at some point this year, a couple. I got a pig that lives in the house named Piggy Smalls, Notorious PIG. She's awesome, but she eats organic. We use her fertilizer on that. My buddy, AKA Big No No's, got a big fucking tortoise at his house. And when I say big, I mean he's like 100 pounds horse. I'm gonna use that tortoise shit this year on fertilizing. It's leaf mold is my main ingredient on everything. You know, just leaf from trees. Make mulch and just keep top dressing. Build a Soul's Craftland is about the only product I buy and bring in anymore. I top dress with that. Love the product. I also like to use it to put down on my logs when I'm building my hugelculture style system, so it doesn't rob my beds the first year of nitrogen. Just kind of coats them. Building these hugelculture beds, man, you should come down sometime. I'll show you how I do it. It's fun. And you take the resources you got right there. And I mean, last year we pulled weight off some outdoor plants. These big monster plants. I posted a picture the other day. Me and my dad standing in front of a 25-foot tall plant. So you're not only going organic, but there is a lot of benefit to this. You dig that much layer and areas for soil and roots to push down through that and have different layers to get through. Alfalfa layer, leaf layers, native soil, built soil, biochar, wood, and then you companion plant. I mean, in all my beds out here, my beds are about 10 foot wide, you know, for one single plant, are covered in turnips, radishes, peas, carrots. I mean, everything that I can grow in those beds are growing right with them. I want all those roots touching each other. I want them talking to each other. I want all those microbes and that fungal explosion just going in there. So that's really what I focus on is these hugelculture pit style beds. And then I grow indoors under Next Light Megas. Next Light's been real good to me. That's all I use. I breed under them. And then just kind of bounce back and forth between those two things. Right now, we're just testing out all the strains me and Dutch Blooms just released and are about to release. On July 1st, the Black Lime Reserve Testarossa Pam goes live. I let out the TKNL5 Haze Pam month ago. Chelsea was Hollywood Pure Kush Pam. It sold out like the first week we put it out. Candy Lemons Pam I'm working on right now and testing, or it's all tested out. I mean, it's already going out to people. So it's really right now just us focusing on little projects together in conjunction and trying to work with some other breeders. I like to collaborate. I like to do stuff. I can't breed dogs no more. That was all I did for 15 years and produced some of the best dogs in the world. So I just kind of take that same research into that. Literally right here, sitting in the floor, is my foundation female that is 13 years old. This is just some of the trophies and awards and different stuff that she won, you know, through the stuff throughout the times. Her son Glock got his Schutzen too. I was competing him when I got sick. She's got 17 dogs that went to the Freedom Tower and Border Patrols and our Schutzen titled. Then you can hear all the other crazy ones in the other room. There's another one sitting on the couch. The main psycho is in here, though. He has his own special room. This is her grandson that stays in this crate. So I put the same genetics into all that shit as I do the plants, like the understanding line breeding, inbreeding, outbreeding, testing everything. And I'm strict on this shit. For us to breed dogs in America, I imported her from Germany. She came over, hips and elbows were already certified. They were A-stamped in Germany. I recertified them in America through OFA. Her spine was certified. Her eyes were certified. That was before we ever breed her. If any of those certifications fail, she don't breed. We're not trying to fuck up the breed. We're trying to better the breed. Then you go out and you test these dogs and you compete them in Schutzen all over the country. They're tested under their tracking ability, their control, their protection, and massive levels of obedience mixed with agility. On average, it takes 3.5 years of training a dog 10 hours a week to get a Schutzen title. I did this nonstop. I had a kennel with 30 to 50 dogs in it at any time. We had a boarding facility. We did group lessons, stuff like that. I can't do that now, man. And the breeding at least gives me an outlet to do something artistic or to pair things together, seeing that they work or they don't work. And even in dogs, I mean, she produced one dog that had a bad elbow, even though her elbows were perfect and all the dogs coming out of her were perfect. Hell, you can take the two most stable lines in the world, put them together and produce intersex, plants that are hermaphrodite easily. Cannabis is an intersex plant. So for me to release these seeds, man, I have tested and beat the shit out of this stuff because I don't want nobody coming back on me like, man, you fucked up my grow. I never wanted nobody that paid me thousands of dollars for a puppy to come back and be like, man, I've got health problems out of this dog. And even then it could still happen. I bred dogs with allergies, food issues, different shit, that it popped up. Degenerative myelopathy became a big thing in dogs after the testing was done. We didn't know about this in the beginning. DM is a neurological issue that comes onto them in the end of life. So it's important, even in dogs, cannabis, growing, whatever you do, if you're going to do it, leave it better than you started it with. And that's my philosophy on anything. I picked bourbon for major distilleries in Kentucky. Anything I put my mind to, like is worth fucking doing, you should do it full out. Like especially if it's a passion. So breeding seeds and doing this shit with Dutch blooms, I'm able to send him the same seeds in Washington State. He's able to send me the same seeds in Michigan. We're able to push them in both places. He goes greenhouse outdoors around the year. I grow indoors under next light and then outdoor Michigan climbing. If we're pushing all this shit out both places, it's fire on all ends. We're releasing that stuff. And that's really what I focused on all winter, testing out all these lines with him, on the phone with him constantly and FaceTime. Because of COVID, we weren't able to link up. I can't just jump on a plane with my medical issues. So that's been the real focus now. And I'm trying to apply. I'm not a plant breeder. I'm a dog breeder. I'm applying dog breeding into plants. I like line breeding. I like taking like the TKNL5 Hayes to Pam. And the reason I chose the Pam male, Pam Anderson from Family Tree Seeds, you should have him on sometime talking about the lineage of Pam. It's really wild. Kevin Jodry helped do all the testing and stuff. It wasn't linked to any other plant, like period. So that really sparked my interest because in dogs, if you do an outcross, and I didn't like to do outcrosses, I like to line breed. But then you do an outcross to breed in the next generation back in the line breed. Like this bitch in the floor, she was 3-4 line bred on Nick von Helgenbosch. He was a famous dog in Germany. I had another bitch that came over from the Czech Republic that was 4-3 line bred on Nick von Helgenbosch. I took one of those to a male that was not, that took it into an outcross so I could bring it back into those lines and cross back into it. So like gelato or cookies or something is so line bred and inbred that taking it to something like Pam, outcrossing it and then bringing it back in, I mean, it should give you a lot of different characteristics there. So that's kind of what I've been fucking around with and doing with these plants, using Pam, the TK Triangle Kush to Northern Lights 5 to Hayes that AK Beam Brains had. I popped about 40 out of those, went through that, found a female. I put the Pam on it. I thought that would be wild to have all 4 of those major cornerstones in one plant. I got hybrid vigor off all this Pam crosses, where nothing was connected to it. So testing those out and going through those has been fun. Now I'm on to my next project, was a rural Kush male. Dutch Blooms is working with a lot of Mean Gene's Cherry Lime and his shit. And it's just constant. So my Bicket OG put out like 2 years ago is kind of getting some traction right now. Stupid heavy yielder. Wash is crazy. Kevin ran it out in Humboldt. Shango Los runs it up in Washington State. Different people have ran this plant. Brandon Russ is running it. And everybody's liking it, man. So that's really where I put all my energy. I miss not being able to do the dogs. So I mean, I can still pet them and play with them, but I can't high level compete them. And I was a protection helper, putting on suits, getting bit by them nonstop. I can't do that with this shit. So I have to have some way to channel energy. And that's really what I do. So.
It's work, brother. That shit is work. I got a good friend of mine here in Michigan that breeds just slick black German shepherds like that. He's got a stud Riker that's pretty well known in the German shepherd. His line's pretty well known, I guess. And that crazy, you go over there and be like, you want to do some bite work? I watched him do bite work, and I've been in that suit, man. That's not easy work, man.
No, it's not easy work.
Just standing there and trying to, oh man, no.
I love
and
the
he loves
control
that
of
shit,
it.
man.
Yeah, it was. I loved I loved all three aspects. I was really good at competition obedience. I love tracking. Protection is what got me into this stuff. Control protection even more. I'm trying to apply that shit to me now. See, the tick took away impulse control, like blew out adrenal glands, different shit. Uh, Trying to learn how to control that stuff is me applying some of that stuff now to myself. Trying to retrain myself and do that stuff. But yeah, it's work and testing out the babies. And people think marijuana breeding's rough. Fucking German Shepherd breeding. Buy a puppy for $2,500, $3,500, port that shit in. So you got another whatever cost on importing it in. And you got to raise this thing up, train it for 2 years, waiting to even check the hips and elbows to know if they're going to certify at 2 years of age, to even know if you can breed this dog by the age of 3. So you got 3 years of work on this dog, and then a fucking elbow or a hip comes back bad. And it's heartbreaking, man. I talked to a bitch in Schutz and Warren, and I really thought I could national champion this dog. And she came back with a bad hip, at 2 years old. And I'm like, fuck. So, Shannon reminds me of that when I'm bitching about having to run out test crosses of different stuff that I bred 9 months ago that I really want to release. And I got to go through all this, and it's like 9 months. That's all it takes, as opposed to 2-3 years with dogs. And anything could go wrong in that time frame with dogs. Or then you've got the greatest fucking dog ever. Her hips are great. Her elbows are great. Her spine is perfect. This bitch will track like no matter and jerk somebody clean out of a blind. I like to compete with females more than males. And then something's wrong with her ovaries and she can't have babies. And that's heartbreaking because she should have babies to better off the breed. So putting that passion into something is where the seeds come in for me. And we just released seeds for the first time 3 months ago. And it's, I'm tickled with Pam Mel that I picked, doing a lot of stuff with Josh right now on his females and his Black Line Testarossa that he's put out. And then our Black Line Testarossa Pam comes out in a couple weeks. And that plant to me is fascinating. I'm getting some stupid purple hues on this thing. And if you look on my page, you'll see some dark fuchsia colored plants. And the other ones in the same seeds are these lime green OG type plants out of the same thing. And I love this shit. It's fascinating. It's just like on dogs, you breed a psychopath to a psychopath, and you end up with some timid dogs in the litter. And it's like, how the hell did this happen? Or you breed gas to gas and you end up with fruity terps. You're like, how the hell did this happen? And to see the different characteristics pop up on all of it is fascinating to me. And then working those lines individually different ways. In my opinion, Mean Gene from Mendocino is the greatest breeder that does it. I follow a lot of breeders, Capulator, Swamp Boy Seeds, different guys that I consider friends and that are exceptional level breeders. But Jackson will take the same strain and move it 5 or 6 different directions. The purple stem one, the green stemmed one. He's just a genius. He's like Van Gogh with just a mat of different paints, and he's just creating his own canvas. And I'm just gonna be honest, I'm piggybacking off his work. My breeding business, I don't even grow many people other strains right now than mine, or Dutch Blooms, or Mean Gene from Mendocinos. I've got the root beer going outdoors this year, and his Pina, and his Jupiter's Cock are all outdoors this year. Um, I've been running the Jupiter's Cock for 3 years. I prefer to just call it Jupiter. Hush, Maggie, hush. Um, it's amazing how certain people don't like a strain just based off the name. But it is just, I call that plant the mother of all terps, because in a 10-pack of seeds, you will find every terp profile. You will find menthol plants. You will find gas. You'll find terpinolene to a level that Jack Herer terps. You will find gas, leather. You will find so much different stuff in this one thing. So that's something that I've really been working on. I've bred it to several things. I haven't been able to stabilize it indoors. Is the only reason I haven't released it. But Gene breeds for outdoors. So bringing that indoor under next light in Michigan weather can be a little different, on certain one of these strains. But I've tried to push that there for 2 years, the Jupiter's Cock indoors, just under next light in my living soul. So hopefully this fall I'll be able to release the Jupiter's Cock pan. But it's different to see the same strain grown. Like if I handed it to you under HPS and I handed it to another buddy under CMH, and then me with one type of LED, and then somebody with a UV LED, and it looks different everywhere, or even outdoors, and there's subtle changes in hues, and I find it fascinating. I mean, it's just massively fascinating. But that same situation is, you take a puppy and you give it to 5 different people, and you're going to get different experiences out of that puppy, from 5 different people. By raising, you'll end up with a high level competition dog out of some people, and you'll end up with a dog who just lays on the couch other places. It's however you want to take the lines in the direction. And that is something I'm very passionate about. Working these cannabis lines, putting real work into it, testing the fuck out of them. The worst thing I want to hear is somebody ran my shit, it hermed out inside, fucked their shit up. But it's going to happen, because cannabis is an intersex plant. I mean, somebody's going to run it the wrong way. Or somebody's going to stress it the wrong way. Or maybe that's just that particular seed that just goes, nope, we're just going to balls out in here. And I really don't want that. So pushing that shit and working it is a massive priority of me and Josh, Dutch Blooms. And it is a benefit to us where he grows in the Pacific Northwest up in Washington State under greenhouses at all times and outdoors to test those both places. Has been a very big benefit in both of our breeding programs, really. But if you got any questions, man, my brain, I just jump all over the place. I literally just had the whole top of my area right there taken off. So it's been a little bit of a adjustment period over the last few weeks. Like I'm getting my thought processes together. When you asked me to do this, I think it was last week, I was like, give me one more week to kind of get functioning. I'll be able to go there. But
again, it's amazing that you can take time to do this, man. I appreciate it. So I guess with one angle I'd like to talk to you about, since you are from Kentucky, and we have grown weed in Kentucky. Uh, I think, to be honest with you, I think Michigan right now is a close second to California as far as seriousness, quality of cannabis, and a great community in general. But Kentucky has a beautiful environment for growing. Now,
yeah,
I think they able to go outside and do some appropriate growing without the penalties. I think fucking Kentucky would quickly step up to take
quickly
a
steps up
number
to
three
yeah.
in quality of cannabis. Yeah, I think so.
I mean, Kentucky and California were going neck and neck in the 70s and 80s. The humidity and weather out there, the limestone, the water, it is a good environment for growing. Kentucky's a little different. You're going to deal with a lot more botrytis, bud mold down in Kentucky, where you deal with a lot more PM up here in Michigan. You know, a lot more humidity and just hot, like Kentucky, where I dog trained. Man, on summer days, you'd be out there at like 10 a.m. and you want to take your third shower of the day. Like you're just sticky and nasty, and kind of like how it was up here in Michigan about 10 days ago. You know, just it's like that 95, 99, 100% humidity all summer long. So you will deal with botrytis and things of that nature down there more so than you do up here. But I dealt with PM, you know, up here that I did deal with in Kentucky. But I like to look for PM. I try to create PM because I want to cull those fucking plants out. Going back into what I was talking about earlier about powdery mildew resistant strains. But even then, you can't cull them out all out. Some of the legends are known to get PM. You know, Hollywood Pure Kush. I work like hell to keep that plant clean. And that's the difference in a Michigan environment. I will tell you the problem, and I'm going to piss some Kentuckians off right now, and I don't care. The problem with Kentucky is they've been left illegal so long that I'm not saying they don't know what they're doing growing wise. I got all kinds of buddies down there, I mean, that know what they're doing. The problem is they don't understand the market. They don't understand the strains. They don't understand the clones. They don't understand any of that stuff. They're so used to getting booth packs out of California for fucking ultra cheap price that are PGR'd and sprayed with pesticides and everything else. A lot of people in Kentucky don't know quality right now. You know, I can go into Kentucky right now and still find Mexican brick today. Mexican brick loaded with seed. I got family members still smoke that shit. Now you explain that to me, and I can't figure it the fuck out. You know, that it's people in getting. I mean, there are great growers in Kentucky. I'm not being disrespectful to Kentucky. I love Kentucky. I bleed Kentucky, and I was there for 38 years of my life. But they've left them in the dark ages by never giving anything that was medical or recreational there, and then it not being surrounded by any states that were. So they opened it up, the regulation. I bet you Kentucky would be the last state to go. They can distill all their bourbon, and I'm not talking no shit to the bourbon industry. The bourbon industry was amazing for me. Buffalo Trace paid for a good bit of my fucking medication. So did Willet and Four Roses. Hell, so did Wild Turkey too, didn't they, Shannon? And Jim Beam. I mean, I shouldn't leave it. Freddie No personally came to my farm delivering bottles to be sold and stuff when I got sick. I love the bourbon industry, but they'll let you drink yourself to fucking death in Kentucky. But you smoke a joint, you go in prison. You know, it's just a different atmosphere there, man. Now Matt Daly and Allison Lundgren Grimes fought like hell, and there are people still fighting for medical marijuana in Kentucky, and I don't even look at it no more because it hurts my heart. I gave them 2 years of my life. I was going back from Michigan to Kentucky during the special election councils and fighting in the fucking Capitol. If Kentucky goes legal tomorrow, it don't matter. I'm in Michigan. Michigan is home. Michigan is where I'm staying. I fell in love with Michigan. Michigan took me in as a refugee when Kentucky said, you know what? You can die, Nick. You can fucking die. Then no cannabis in Kentucky. Michigan was like, come on up here, man. We'll take you in. Buy a house here. Support our economy. It's legal. Blew my fucking mind, bro. I buy a house in Saginaw. I have an electrician come over, do the stuff. He's got to call the power company, have them update everything. And he's like, what do you need all this? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to put in some deep freezers. And like, he's like, man, if you're growing weed, you can just tell us it's legal. Like we just need to know. We'll update everything and upgrade it. And I'm like, no shit. Like, I'm not going to prison today. Like, I was so dumbfounded by this stuff. Like, because I've been to prison. I'm from Kentucky. I mean, these motherfuckers will check your electric bill and stuff and use it to get a warrant. So it was just a trip moving up here. I came up to the Cannabis Cup 3 years ago. I see, it was the first time I'd been in anything like that. I seen a 70-year-old lady riding on a wheelchair with clones hanging out of it. I'm like, I'm living up here. I'm moving up here, sick as shit. And I did the next week and been here since. So it doesn't matter what Kentucky does. I will always support the people in Kentucky. We did a huge auction, me and BK Roller, for Cornbread Mafia guys about back on April 20th on the Adam Dunn show, different stuff. Like I always support the Bicketts. I always support those boys. That's family. I try to get them to move Michigan, all of them. Get the fuck out of Kentucky in the archaic laws. But Kentucky has a great environment for it. He has a stupid rich tradition of this stuff. I mean, men that spent 20 plus years in penitentiary for growing plants. The problem is the politicians don't want to make that accessible for medical patients. They don't want to make it accessible for the economy. While every other state is blowing past them when they have, like you said earlier, I mean, the agricultural capabilities in Kentucky is just fascinating, but they don't do nothing with it. So that's a big problem that I decided is not my damn problem no more. I made it my problem for a long time, and it's just not my mental health matters focus to me more than anything. I love the people in Kentucky. I hate the people who are in states and they can't get access to medical marijuana. Move. And that's all I had. I'm not trying to be harsh. I did it sick as fuck. So don't tell me you can't do it. You figure out a way. You get to a place where you can be safe. Get to a place where you can be safe. Heal yourself. Find people that can help heal you. Put your brain towards your medical stuff and try to get better. So as much as I love Kentucky, it's like an ex-wife. It's like, yeah, we had some good times, man. I still love UK basketball like crazy. I try to root for Michigan now that I'm up here. I mean, as long as they never play Kentucky, we're good to go. Still root for UK like crazy, but I don't really care if I ever go back. It's too many painful memories of having to leave. I love Michigan. I love the big pine trees. I love the big cedar trees. I love the downtowns in Michigan, that they're still alive. It's not like that in Kentucky. I like the community in Michigan. The people that I've been around in the marijuana community. Chris from Out Country Roots, one of the first people I linked up here with. Just good people. So. And the weather's a lot different up here. It helps my medical needs. I can't deal with heat. I have this weird seizure or non-seizure. They can't really classify it. Has to do with the stiff man syndrome that I got from this stuff.
You're in the place for, well, we have some. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're all right.
Get a little bit of delay here. I was just gonna say, if you're hot's not your thing, we sure you're in the right spot, man. We have some spikes, but man, heck, it was 38 here the other night and 33 the night before that up here.
Yeah,
at least where I'm at.
Yeah, we had some crazy drops here this week. I mean, it went from like 89 degrees last. I'm north of Ann Arbor. I'm west of Saginaw. Now down towards the middle of the state, where we bought a farm. I mean, we were close to 90 degrees last week. In the last few days, I mean, they're having heat waves out in the West Coast. We were 60 degrees today as a high. And it looks like the whole next week's going to be that way. Michigan has some of the weirdest fucking weather. And I thought Kentucky had weird weather until I moved up here to Michigan. You never know what it's going to do in Michigan. I think it's the big, the Great Lakes and everything, the water systems that pull off there. But, if you can grow plants in Michigan without powdery mildew issues, you're on your game. Because of that type of drop like that, where it goes from 89 degrees, 60% humidity to 60 degrees, 95% humidity the next day, and it's constantly shifts and mood shifts like that. It can be challenging, but on the good days, man, last year was a great growing season. And it's really, for me, about conquering all that is just the right microbes in the soil. Letting them do their work out there and counteracting that stuff, making the right selections to take outdoors, and just trying to battle it that way. Because these wild temperature shifts. I mean, hell, you can feel it in your house, indoor stuff. I was talking to a buddy earlier about this stuff. This is powdery mildew season right now when it drops temperatures like that, but hopefully we get some sunshine. I know we won't for the next 2 or 3 days, but hopefully after that it goes back to good warm weather and all that good jazz.
What are your thoughts about growing some big plants outdoors in some of them old whiskey barrels?
I probably won't be growing monsters this year for myself. I was in the hospital during planting season. So we're just now getting plants out. I'm not even running all the plants I'm allowed to run this year. We're just focusing on quality and doing some breeding outdoors, making some selections. I'm more excited about growing flowers and vegetables outdoors than anything this year. I don't know, man. I went through it mentally and medically this winter. I'm taking it easy. I'm trying to learn to heal. I'm trying to go hang out with people. And now this COVID shit's getting a little bit cleared up. I'm trying to put much love into all my farm, regenerating all the soil. We are our farm's DIM Pure certified. I'm trying to do a lot more than just the cannabis this year. I put out tons of sunflowers, radishes, turnips, and buckwheat this year. Really trying. I got these little projects with some of these sand dunes I've dug out of the hugelkultur pits. So then I got all this sand I put in piles. I'm taking all these buckwheat. I take radishes and turnips and I just let them rot in the ground. Put all the nutrients right back in. And these are deer plot, cover crops for the deer. They rot right in the ground. And worms just come in and eat this shit up. And then the next year they go back to seed and they just keep doing this. And I let them rot and put the nutrients in the ground. This year, towards the end of last year, all we do is put down a compost tea every other week and just water. This year I've just put down water and some microbes that Brandon Russ sent me, put down last week on some compost piles and different stuff. So I'm taking these sand dunes and pits that I brought out of the hugelkultur pits. So it's just pure sand, that white sand, once you get like 4 foot down, into the hole. And I took his shit and piled it up and I covered it with turnips and radishes this year and buckwheat. We also planted a lot of potatoes in them. Now I'm pulling those potatoes out. I love to eat potatoes. But the rest of it, I just let just kind of rot on there and keep chopping and dropping all the cover crop. I did this last year with a pile, and every time I do compost tea, I spray this pile of sand plus all this compost I keep chopping and dropping. It does not take a year to start turning this stuff into viable dirt. Adding compost, adding goat manure, adding duck manure, chicken manure onto this and keep working it. So I got little projects like that I'm working on this year and just focusing on the seed breeding more than anything. Just things that spark my interest, get me to act creative, not stay in a rut and try to keep moving. I do biochar a lot, mainly because it's fun. If you're in a bad mood, you set a bunch of shit on fire and you get an end product that you get to use. I mean, that's a win-win situation. So I dig big pits for the biochar. Cover it with all these sticks and everything. And I'll set a raging fire. I mean, my pit's 7 foot deep, 15 foot wide. Let it rage for about 20 minutes, spray it out with a hose. I mean, you'll be out there spraying for an hour. It gives you appreciation for what fire really does, like how hot this stuff will keep reigniting to get perfect char. I like to bury the other logs into the ground. That in leaf mode, you'll turn sand very quickly into organic matter. Adding compost into there, using yucca extract, things like that to spray onto the soil softens over time. Gypsum, frass, all this stuff loosens up, breaks up all this sandy area and makes it a lot more organic. We had a plant from Seattle Chronic Seeds grog last year. It was maybe 15 foot tall. 20 foot around. I pulled 7 pounds off this one plant. And she didn't go out to the beginning of July. and it's about these hugelkultur bases, tons of mulching, and letting nature do its job. I really am trying each day. I want to step back even more. I just go in there to guide and do my stuff, but I'm about the nature. Let nature do its stuff. I'm sitting out there this morning, watering before it rained and checking different plants, and I can see all these baby frogs everywhere, everywhere, and I mean everywhere. But I've got crickets everywhere, and then I got gardener snakes everywhere. And to watch the ecosystems that is just happening in my beds is fascinating to me. Um, Nature is the greatest healer and teacher, and if anything, the hippies have taught me that. And to go out and observe it and just pay attention to it and try to heal from it and ground myself into the earth is something I'm really working on, because I am mentally fucked up. I talk about my journey on Instagram, from my brain being ravaged to parasite, different things of that nature inside my brain. All my shit ain't happy go lucky, but I work towards every day being happy go lucky. This year more than ever, I want to see pretty flowers. I don't know why, but this shit in the hospital, the last trip, it was torturous to me, being strapped up with that many wires in the head, and not being able to smoke, not being able to move without multiple doctors and nurses at every side of me, to even go to the bathroom, having 3-4 people in the bathroom with me because I only had 18 inches of lead wire out of my brain. It kind of broke me a little bit and made me very much more appreciative of being outside and just sitting and looking at things. And I love growing cannabis, but I love growing a lot of other things also. I'm really excited for all the tomato plants, squash, and watermelons and pumpkins my fiance's put out. I've got into the organic eating and stuff because of my medical needs. It's funny, I used to eat everything fried and everything of that nature. I can't do that shit now. Like, it fucks me up. So half this stuff, like it coming straight from the garden, straight onto my table, there is a very satisfying fulfillment thing there that I'd never experienced before from not farming that way. I mean, I farmed tobacco growing up, corn a couple years, a lot of tobacco, but that was it. As far outside of agriculture, marijuana. So to learn to do some of these things and to provide for yourself. We grew so many potatoes last year, and to dig these things out of the earth, and they're yours. You created them, you made them, they came right there. There's a special connection there to that, to the food. It's changed my food habits. I used to drink like I said, I used to eat like a fucking 5-year-old, man. It's changed. It's completely changed, and that goes into the medical stuff and then the organic growing, all of it. The cover crops. When you're growing with synthetics and you're not growing using cover crops, you're using other crops to fixate nitrogen. You're using cover crops to chop and drop to provide many nutrients, homes for microbes, mulch layers. So you want to keep, when you're growing synthetics, just everything clean all around your plants and everything. It's a whole different mindset to just add tons of plants right on them. My mindset used to be like keeping all the ground cleared around it, try to keep bugs away. Fucking bring on the bugs. Just bring the beneficials with it. That's how we battle bugs. You build such a home for beneficials that it's not a problem. My wife was out there, or fiance was out there planting plants that brought in parasitic wasps like 10, 15 days ago. There are certain things that you can plant with it. She's putting catnip and peppermint under every plant. And with my brain injury, guys, if I missay a word or say it wrong, I apologize. I'm trying to keep everything good with my brain. But like the other day, I said spaghetti like 10 times, meaning scissors, and that's just sometimes I'll say the wrong word. So try not to crucify me in the comments or anything. But adding catnip, peppermint, under all the plants, control aphids. Thrips do not like catnip at all. Neither do aphids. So we're transplanting that everywhere, putting comfrey all down around the plants. Mint. But she's experimenting with a lot of the herbs, stuff like that. It's fun to see what you can do. So, and to see how less money you can spend. I want to point that out also. When I first moved up here, there was a month and I was getting it hard. I spent like $2,000 on synthetic nutrients. And I mean, I just don't want that, on top of everything else, my weed is 1,000 times better organically, tasting, smelling, everything else. And I'm a long time salt grower to say that, but the amount of money I save is stupid. Is absolutely stupid. And I get a better product, and there is no yield change. I don't want to hear that from people. Like come sit with me. We'll talk. I'll show you how to pull 7 pounds under 3 necks like megas. Doing it organically under 3rd or 4th generation recycled soil. Organics can pull yield, pull taste. It's just knowing how to do it right. It's not even knowing how to do it right. The less you do is more in a lot of situations. So, but I'm constantly a student. You can constantly learn. You can learn from everybody, even if it's the way not to do things. So every day there's something to learn. Shannon is really big into all the other levels of gardening, and she breeds her chickens. I mean, like, she's got them down to individual breeds and who's hatching what. And we had 7 babies the other day, and we had duck babies. And so she's also a breeder in her own right. So to watch her try to integrate like herbs into the beds, and that's her job this year, finding insect, plants that help propel all that stuff, so that I'm not spending a small fortune on damn beneficial bugs, because aphids were a bitch last year. And thrips, as soon as spring hit this year, it was like thrips just dropped out of the air everywhere. And real quickly, you can get those populations under control by naturally bringing in lacewings, ladybugs, and just many different types of predator bugs. Pirate bugs we see out here, predator wasps constantly. They have huge pollinator gardens, which bring in so much. All these butterfly bushes and flowers bring in multitude of life that eat other insects. I have thousands of frogs in my beds. I don't know where the hell the things come from. Every time I water, these little baby frogs, I mean, like the size of your fingertip, just pop out everywhere. I don't know if that's a particular Michigan frog. It's not like the damn frogs I saw in Kentucky, big ass bullfrogs, but they're all in my beds right underneath there, just eating those bugs up. And it's just fascinating to me. And like I say, I'm recovering from a brain injury, so I'll sit out there and just look at it. Like, there's this whole world going on underneath the soil and underneath that mulch layer that we know nothing really about. We haven't even scratched the surface on understanding. And it's all fascinating to me. Microbes and bacteria and all this. I mean, this goes back into my Lyme disease and all that shit. At some point, I'm going to stumble around, fuck around with the wrong microbe outside. It's going to kill all my cannabis plants, but all of a sudden I'm going to be healed of all this shit. I'm just convinced one day I'm going to find the right one. It's just going to be a lot of work in the meantime. I don't know if you ever watched this Paul Stamets movie, Fantastic Fungi, but he's in there talking about fungus and microbes eating the stuff at Chernobyl and radioactive waste sites and at fuel dumps and oil, and they find different ones to do this shit. And this fungus that stayed on the space shuttle, like microbes in and out of the atmosphere through re-entry and that levels of heat. And it fascinates me because it's the key to unlocking what's going to heal me, and if not, I'm going to learn a lot of other things to do cool things with plants in the process of dealing with that. So
I really believe it, and not to sound all hippy dippy, but I really believe that shit's gonna honestly fix us all in one way or another, man. I don't think I've said this a bunch of times. I don't think it's any coincidence that cannabis and mushrooms mycology is in the forefront right now of what we do and teaching us all so much. When I asked you that about, Josh and that, turn in you hippy dippy, it wasn't, I wasn't giving you a hard time. I'm
No,
I'm right
no,
there in
I
that
know
boat,
exactly
brother.
what you're
I'm right
saying,
there in
man.
that boat. 20
I,
years cocoa, man. I've been growing for a long time. And then I
yeah,
actually, you can see them over here. Smiley's Gardens passed me some earth boxes. And ever since then, I've been looking into the organics, a little bit reading some books, man. The deeper I fucking open, the more doors I open up, the deeper I get, man.
yeah,
I was talking the other night about it being like a black hole, basically. And it just keeps in bettering you as a person. I mean, you start out for growing, you know what I mean? You get into it and you learn about the microbes and shit. For me, the fungus, the mycology, man, it's got me sidestepped right now. I want to learn more about what's going on, but as far as the fungus, the mycology that's going on, relating each shit with all the other plants, how it relates to us in the gut, how it can fucking fix our mind, man. There's so much going on just there. And, I mean, just, how a hyphae, a fungal hyphae can reach out into a stone, brother, and
yeah,
bust that motherfucker up and shit and
yeah.
turn it into dirt. I mean, come on, it's fascinating, and
Man,
so
I
I knew
posted a
it kind of
stock.
was gonna suck you in a little bit.
And it is fascinating. You keep
Sorry.
going. I posted a stock. It was that big from one of the monster plants last year. I pulled it out of the bed like 2 days ago, and there were mushrooms growing out of the stalk where it broke down. And I'm like, this is just beautiful, just to see all this alive here and going to this level. But you're right. There's a never ending layer that you can keep going. And some of these guys are so stupid smart with this shit. I mean, it's wicked. Brandon Russ comes to my mind as much as anybody. Dutch Blooms also. Potent Ponics, Steve with his aquaponics stuff. I mean, these guys are just different level on organics, and there are so many different ways to do organics. And yeah, I feel like even lately, like the regenerative term is kind of thrown around more as a marketing and a brand term. And there is drama even in organics. I mean, you got different camps that do things different ways. I'm not into all that shit, man. I'm just about nature and the plant and trying to bring out the most of it with a minimal of what I've got to do. And I mean, I do put a lot of work into layering the hugelkultur beds when I build them, but I mean, that's for life, or at least for my life, to keep rocking the same beds. That carbon, you go out, you find, when I purchased this farm, there had been a massive poplar tree in the back that had collapsed 20 years ago. This stuff all gets covered with sand during that time and just breaking down. Well, I use that as all the basis of my first beds. At that point, this shit almost looked like cocoa core. It had that red color to it. It had broken down. The wood was so soft. Shannon started seeds directly in some of that just to see how it would do. It did exactly the same as the ones in Fluffy 707 dirt. So that really sparked me last year on doing more with wood. Like the different layers of wood from hardwood all the way down into where it's rock. You see those tree stumps where you touch it and it just breaks down. That's the fucking wood I want to use. It's already loaded with mycology. It's a it just takes it to a different level, man. That's going right into the plants right then. Every time it rains, all that wood soaks that moisture up. Last year, I got friends in Humboldt put 200 gallons on these big monster plants a day. I'm putting 200 gallons on the farm a day because we turn the whole damn thing into hugelkultur beds. And we're sequestering all that carbon right back into the ground, leaf mold. It turns it over quickly. The person I purchased the farm from, well, around me, I'm surrounded by thousands of acres of legacy farms. Guys that do corn or soy and rotate crops, the same family all around me. I've kind of become a little bit of a buddy with the farmer neighbor over here. He's walked over to see how I farm a couple times. He's just fascinated with it. He's got a degree, from the University of Michigan, agriculture from back in the day. He wasn't taught none of this shit. Cover cropping, compost, cultures, microbes, any of that stuff. Like, it's fascinating to him. He came over to watch me do one of the hugelkultur beds. He brings me cow shit from his cows right down the road, and to see the way I layer it in and to see what I do with it, and to see I'm already revitalizing all the land around it, and explain to him, like, these mushrooms mean good things that are popping up out of the ground everywhere around here. To him, he doesn't get that concept, but it's fascinating to him. And it's kind of like the doctors I was talking about earlier. The farmers should be pissed off too. They've all been uneducated while they were seeking that education. They were taught to run with chemicals on their land to kill off everything on their fucking land. And then doctors were trained. And I'm not anti medication, Western medication. I'm anti pumping so much chemicals into you. If the fucking pill has more side effects than what it's even treating, we need to go back to square one and rethink this shit. Now, I take antibiotics when I get sick for all this parasitic stuff. And there are certain days a year I have to take Valium because the muscle spasms will not chill the hell out. Now, I'm lucky to be able to have those things. I've got Western technology in this port that sticks in my chest. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't be alive. But at the same time, these people have been de-educated in finding education. Everything that was natural of this world has been stripped away from the medical community, from agriculture. And to get back to that stuff and learn, it all starts connecting together, from food to health to the gut, like you was talking about earlier. I'm really focusing on gut health right now. There's so many articles about it being the second brain. Well, a couple of my seizures do not come from my brain. They do not know where they come from. They're not even classified as seizures. They are events. These events were, all I can describe to you is the main issue is temperature change. Me being in the shower, opening the shower curtain, you get that rush of cool air, that will black me out. And I'll go into, I always call them seizures, but they are technically not seizures. They don't really have a classification for it. I've been in the grocery store before and and this all comes from the tick shit. Stiff man syndrome is probably the culprit, but they don't know. Be in the cereal aisle, walk over the frozen food section, that shift of temperature, and I black out. Well, when I black out, I free fall. Those free falls have resulted in many, getting faces, stitch ups. Why half my face is covered right now, bandaged. It's the free falls, that do it to me. So trying to figure that stuff out medically and trying to get these doctors to work with any of the medicine that I've incorporated has been a nightmare. Even if you find one that is like, holy shit, this is working, for them to go out on a limb and try to introduce this shit as actual protocol is very difficult because they're fighting a system that is in place. For me to try to tell my neighbor that's doing all this corn and doing all this soy that they've got all the equipment in the world, that if they ran through there and just did 1 acre of hugelkultur just to test it out. But the theory, just like talking to doctors, is so foreign to them that they just can't wrap their head around it. That this would work. This goes against everything they've ever known. They spray to kill off weeds. They spray to kill off the bugs. Bring in beneficial bugs. That's insane. Now they just run genetically modified crops. They ain't got to worry about that shit. Doctors, they depend on medicine so much they're not in the room with you for 30 seconds. They're back out of the room. They're already, that's why I'd rather talk to nurses 90% of the time. That communication there with the land, with patients, it's all leaving. And that's the only communication I really have left. That's what's giving me my life back. That's what I'm focusing on. Now, finding doctors that'll do that.
So I can't help but wonder. I was watching a thing about fungus the other night, and it seems like it makes me wonder, just listening to your story there. how the warm and cold affects you so drastically, and you're so dependent on like fungus and whatnot, to keep your body kind of in check. What they were saying basically in the show I was watching is we're like an oddity basically on and a fine line with fungus. We have a strange relationship with them. Is our body temperature is just high enough to kill off most. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I can't help but wonder if, there's a certain strain in you that's easily killed off from the spike. You know what I mean? Either way, and then you have like a sudden die off, that maybe quickly becomes toxic, like you were saying.
Yeah, it's a sudden die off of bacteria that goes in that J. Herxheimer reaction stuff. That's what all Lyme disease patients are scared of because of the pain associated with it. Um, fungal properties, molds, mildews, different stuff in the body. There's good, there's bad, and trying to navigate that chaos of what's what. Man, I went on a limb and experimented. I took baths in microbes. I've been in 9 piles. I took baths in labs. Um, I make little jokes that maybe this is my last bath and this microbes are doing something, but maybe it works. I've dealt with shit. I'm not even exactly sure. 29 to 35 surgeries in the last 3 years. Arms, colon, uh, just all over, really. From side effect stuff from this tick shit. So it's funny. People always like, is Lyme disease? Man, my Lyme disease is in remission. It's what the Lyme disease, the bacteria. Now that can come out of remission at any point, but it's all the tunneling these parasites do through your body, bore into muscle, bore into tissue, bore into bone, and then they shift. I mean, it's almost like an alien thing. They have protozoa around them, and they have like shields around them. Watch Star Trek back in the day, and they're like, raise the defense shields. They actually have shields. The Some of this bacteria and parasites will live inside this shield that antibiotics cannot penetrate. So trying to find that fine line of what to do. And then you battle doctors that have no fucking clue what to do. And then they come into the room and then they just challenge each other. They're all trying to experiment on you. It's been a nightmare. Now I've had to become my own doctor. Some of the things I do probably aren't right. Some of the things probably are. It's just been a guessing game until finding things work. Powdery mildew resistant strains to me, what light bulbs went off, and from that day it has worked to an extent where I am functioning. But I'm way more debilitated and fucked up than all the people that I help with this shit. And I've seen a lot of Lyme disease patients go completely into remission running my protocol. Also MS, high blood pressure issues. See, I believe that my temperature regulation seizure, well, the doctors know there is a blood pressure issue there where my blood pressure is always normal. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have low blood pressure. But when those events happen, it spikes massively stroke level for about 10 seconds, then shoots massively low, then stabilizes. And this all happens in about a 30-second time frame for each section, high, middle, low, and then I pass out. That one I still ain't figured out how to fix yet, but I'm working on it. I got friends that are fucking smart. Eclectic Alchemy. It's this lady up in the Northeast. She's a witch. She calls herself a witch. Herbs and brews and teas and plant and flower essence, and like my supplement game is strong, dude. This is see, I'll flip this shit around. This is just my supplement counter, my RSO counter, all the different strains of RSO broken down, the different mushrooms, different natural supplements. This is all natural stuff, herbs, tinctures, different stuff, the flower essences that I make. This lady actually custom makes these this is for my adrenal glands. Myco caps are better than anything. This stuff that Wee Woo got me from Scapegoat really helps with some of my I've had multiple surgeries where the parasites have pushed themselves out of my body. it's hard to explain to people. Like this shit's ruptured my colon. It goes for soft tissue. My left testicle went into my eyes, brain, knees, um, anything that it could go into that is soft tissue, it did. My right arm, I've had 13 surgeries on, where the body tries to create a way to pump out this dead bacteria, so it creates fistulas and tunnels where it's trying to push this toxin out. The body's an amazing thing. It wants that shit out. If it can't find a place, it'll make a place. So hitting detox and all those levels are important. Drink my apple juice here. I can't have much sugar, but I love fucking apple juice, dude. So if you got any questions, man, you're more happy to answer them. I just get kind of rambling about shit and jump all kinds of subjects, but hell, what are you smoking on tonight? There's a good conversation.
Oh man, I'm enjoying your ramble, to be honest with you. So, you know, I actually asked about the whiskey barrels on purpose and not necessarily just for cannabis, although I do believe that they would make some big ass plants. But I mean, I was asking just because of the wood, you know, the way it sweats as you were talking, takes in moisture and squeezes it back out. And the barrels are already fired, most of them. So you'd have the char in there
Yeah, it's kind of
and,
like
you
a
know,
biochar
kind of a
right in
good
there. I can
wicking in
actually
and
show
out
you
through.
that right here. This is a barrel I picked from Smooth Ambler in West Virginia. Um, so I picked this barrel, I think it was in 2013. You can see how the whiskey pushes through the barrel, and that's where it got to. You can see the line of, you know, where it actually stopped, and pushing it in and out from the hot and cold, and the char that is already present in the barrel. I would love to grow into one and try it out. Of course, I'd have to let it dry out for a few years because the alcohol would kill off microbes. But the biochar, I mean, this is all charred still to this day. And I mean, whiskey was a big part of my life. I picked the 2015 World Whiskey of the Year. This is a Weller Antique bottle I picked. It's actually stamped. BIB was a bourbon group that I created. It's getting a text from Josh and Kelly checking in. I love these people. Willet barrels I picked. This was the World Whiskey of the Year. Came out in 2016. This is bottle 0009 from that run. I had a whole case of that. Van Winkles I picked and different stuff back in the day. Whiskey was a major part of my life. Now it needs to not be. I love bourbon. I love the tannins. I love the taste. It makes me a better marijuana grower, better marijuana connoisseur, picking terpenes. I mean, that's my thing on bourbon, was testing, finding certain barrels, alcohol esters, tannins, the way that the wood management would change from barrel to barrel. Exact same still run, same day, fill same barrels, age them beside themselves in the rick house. They come out different quality. I mean, massively different. That's why I'm so fascinated with individual selections out of the same seed, where they can go different ways. You look at, I got an aunt. She's got two boys. They look like a dead mixture of her and her husband, like dead mixture. You look at either one of them, you're like, that's their kids. You know, I got another family member's got a kid, don't look nothing like it. You know, and it's kind of like going through these seed selections or even these bourbon selections on picking bourbon barrels. You never really knew what the end product was going to be. And it's all about wood selection there. Just like in cannabis, it's all about soil selection to me. As far as bringing out individual characteristics in your plants or individual characteristics in your bottles. So I'm on the hunt for bourbon, terps, and marijuana. That's why Mean Gene has put me on the root beer to Coca-Cola. And sorry, I lost my signal there for a second. Root beer to Coca-Cola. And then my Bicket OG has got a lot of GMO terps, but some fermented cherry in there. and just finding different single bourbon characteristics out of that, and then working that line or working that individual terpene. Just a little project I've got going on, trying to find some bourbon terps in cannabis. But yeah, to take a hugelkultur pit and fill with some whiskey barrels, or to just drill right into the top of one of these, take the top off of it. Flip this around here, because the top, this is all signed from that event. I mean, you could, it's a 55-gallon barrel. So, I mean, that's like a 50-gallon smart pot. That's interesting, dude. You got me on something. I'm gonna try this shit next year. So I have a barrel out there and put a plane in it. But
sounds like a perfect environment, to be honest with you. I mean, even if you cut that bad boy in half, I don't know. I think it's be worth trying myself.
It's fun
What
to
you got
experiment
there?
with all this shit. I'm going through a lot of the Candy Lemons Pam selections I did. They were stupid pretty. So trying to figure out which one actually has some power in the smoke behind that, because they were all just as far as look wise, all of I culled one out just because it did not have the yield. The rest of them were all keepers. So now they can't all be keepers. I've got to cull some of these guys out. Now I'm just trying to figure out which ones have a little bit of a more power behind them. The problem with that is I do take a ton of RSO a day. So I don't really catch a buzz from weed. I'm taste testing stuff, but if I find something ever in weed that I'm like, oh, that gave me a little bit of a buzz, I'm like, oh, I share it with a friend and they get high as hell. So that's a problem for me, where I can't listen to Mean Gene's interview with you where he scaled back and talking about how high he can get. Like, I get jealous of that shit sometimes because I can't. And anytime I scale back on RSO, I have very bad medical results there. So it's not something I can do. So I'm really looking for taste. I'm looking for the terpenes, and I'm looking to see if I get a little bit of an eye buzz, or I'm looking to see, do I get hungry in 30 minutes? And that's rare to me. When I was a kid, I don't know about you, but like 17, 18 years, anytime you smoked weed, I wanted to fucking eat. Well, now I got a medical condition. I need to eat, and finding strains that actually make me want to eat are real limited. I'll go back to Kosher Kush again, because you could hand me that shit blind. I smoke a joint of it, I'm gonna look at you and be like, we need to go get some food. And that's just not something I do a lot. Food has become a nightmare for me. I'll want to eat, and then it gets in front of me and I'm like, nah, I'm good. And so whenever I'm hungry, that's a day to be happy. So that's something I really try to focus on. Individual strains for individual things. And I'm not being crude here by what I'm about to say. I don't mean this rude, but I've got strains that I've ran that are better than Viagra any day. And I don't mean this crude. I've given this to people with blood pressure issues, and it's fixed their blood pressure issues. It's a blood regulation issue. That's what they originally gave Viagra to. Well, hell, I ran this strain for 2 weeks in RSO form, and all of a sudden every morning I was waking up like I was 13. And I'm like, what the hell is going on with this strain? And I actually gave it to a friend that has blood pressure issue through all of her Lyme disease complications. And she went off her blood pressure medication for the first time ever, like in 15 years. My daddy, I moved up here, was real sick, cancer and stuff through the VA. I got my daddy off his blood pressure medicine pretty quick running RSO. Of course, the doctors are always fucked up about this shit. They're always happy that the blood pressure is better, but they just can't believe it with cannabis. So there are so much more medical shit to cannabis than just what I'm particularly dealing with, or cancer, or vice versa. There are strains that are made to fight every one of these things. It's just finding the strain. Now you got everybody muddling these damn strains down by just breeding it all over the place with no goal. I need to see plants that have goals attached to them, because that's the plants that are going to give me medical benefits. I don't know if that makes sense, but to me it does. Like, if you put purpose into what you're doing, it's got a purpose for work. Um, Finding powdery mildew resistant strains, botrytis blood mold resistant strains, mold fungus resistant strains, strains that high terpene content. Um, these have massive medical benefits, man. Um, it's just trying to figure it out, and then you get into different treatments. Like, people with breast cancer shouldn't take the same level of RSO as people with other forms of cancer, and studying all this stuff up and trying to match it off. I'm telling anybody that watches this stuff, which, people, I don't know why people are fascinated with my journey or any stuff, but they seem to be. Get on the NIH, go onto their website. They have archives there. Start researching this shit. It's all right there in front of you. And I was so obsessed after the doctors would try to sound so educated to you when you're in the room while you're handing them out thousands upon thousands of dollars. I was obsessed with holding a conversation in the room, my brain ravaged, and knowing what was taking place with me. And when their medications weren't working, I was trying to look for other alternatives. When CBD and RSO gave me sleep and made me hungry and started control of seizures, because I still have seizures, but if it wasn't for RSO and CBD oil, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be seized out, not even able to communicate. So it's just finding different experiences people have. And that it does become difficult. You know, I believe cannabis is individual in a lot of things. That just because a strain works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you, and vice versa. Just like some strains that people smoke, they don't like the hive. I don't understand that. I like all weed. So I don't. I'm not one of those guys like, I'm not going to smoke sativa, or I'm not going to smoke indica, or I'm not going to smoke this hybrid. I'm going to smoke it all. I want to see what it does. Um, there are so many different medical benefits to cannabis. It's just finding them out and then working them. I think at this point we've cooked down over 250 individual strains on RSO, and I've got a notebook with all the shit researched in it. Does it help me? Does not help me? Um, and there's some RSO strains that don't really, like, I can't even tell that I've taken anything. So it is, all RSO isn't the same. And even for that matter, if you find a particular cut of like Hollywood Pure Kush that works for me on spasticity and shaking and things of that nature, but there's another Pure Kush out there that clone does not work for me. And for whatever reason, when I've been told from other people's research that when they bred this Hollywood Pure Kush, that muscle spasm medical part to it did not go into any of the seeds. I bred it. That's my Chelsea, that same strain that I put the PAM into. I haven't ran any of that RSO yet. I'm about to, but we'll see. So it's the Hollywood Pure Kush. Kevin Joder's got a video about it where, this guy that constantly had spasms, that stuff saved him, that particular cultivar, that strain. So I'm fascinated with that from the medical aspect of finding something that really works and works for different people. And just because one strain doesn't work doesn't mean that another strain won't, or vice versa. I'm very interested in figuring out different ways to process RSO to keep as many of my terpenes in as it can. Because a lot of terpenes are cooked off in the process of doing RSO. The terpenes are as much of the healing properties as any of the other cannabinoids. Keeping those in there is very important for me. I've tried to do some RSO through live rosin, eating live rosin, different stuff like that, because the terpenes are so much more present there. And it's a lot more full spectrum than something else. Hash, consume just, grams of hash, things like that. But I would like to figure out how to, I jar all my cannabis in mason jars I decarbonate it for 70 minutes at what degree, Shannon? My brain's blank. It's too. I'll have to ask her. She's in the other room. I go for 70 minutes. Now I keep them sealed in the jars in the oven, and that keeps in a lot of the oils and the terpenes. But still, through the process of alcohol and the high heat cooking off and different stuff, you're losing a lot of that, and the terpenes are just valuable. So it's trying to learn more about that right now. Terp Wizard, he's a genius of a guy that extracts. Roz Pop, Pacific Northwest, Roz Kaya, Pacific Northwest Roots, genius extracting. Dutch Blooms, these different guys. Man, I lean on them. Extraction and all that shit is not my forte. I do my RSO. I don't stay in that, or I don't step into that lane outside of RSO. So listening to these guys' processes and methods are the only way that I'll really learn, because that I'm just not an extractor. Now I have a little bit of background knowledge on stuff through bourbon distilling and through my own RSO, but I don't ever want to produce my own rosin or anything. I'll let these guys that are a genius doing that shit do that stuff. But them coming up with better ideas to keep those terpenes in will be great for me and for anybody battling a medical issue. Higher your terpene content, the higher the healing is going to be.
Agree with that 100%. I was talking to an extractor not so long ago about pulling back, being able to reharvest the terpenes from the bubble hash wash, and then being able to reintroduce them back into the hash as a full medicine, which was really interesting. But one quick little point I want to tell you about, I want to kind of address. You said you don't understand why people want to hear your story. One, in my opinion, people like myself love people that aren't afraid to chase their dreams. Check. Two, people love fighters. Check. Three, we like to know.
Feel like
we
I'm crazy,
we all
dog.
love
like,
cannabis,
I really
and we
feel
want
like
to.
I'm fucking nuts.
We want to. Well, we want to know that cannabis. Hey, we want to believe cannabis can heal ourselves. This isn't just bullshit. And you're living
Yeah, I
example
feel you
that
there.
it is a powerful fucking medicine.
Yeah, I was
So
always into
again,
marijuana my whole life until I got sick. I never truly believed that cannabis was medicine. Like when you would see those things like medical marijuana, and I'd laugh in my head like, yeah, medical. Like I've had a bad day. Let me smoke his joint so I don't punch somebody in the mouth. That was what I thought medical cannabis was. Or in that rare form of people that have cancer that they use cannabis on. And it worked for whatever reason or made them hungry and want to eat. But it wasn't until I got sick till I truly understood that not just cannabis was medicine, but I believe that that plants are medicine in every form, that every ailment we have, that there is plants and compounded forms of plants out there for us to heal ourselves. I just have to believe that. There's too many instances of it in the world. Even going back to being in the beds earlier and talking about the whole ecosystem there. We were designed to live on this earth with all these plants and to use these in some way. Now, I got a late start, man. I came into this shit, and why I say I don't know why people are, I guess, interested in my journey is I live it, and it's a nightmare. People say, "Oh, tell me I'm inspiring," and I'm thinking, man, I have emotional breakdown when I walk into the hospital each time because of the PTSD and you've had me for Kevin Jodry and Josh and Kelly. The last time I was in the hospital, I left. I'd have walked out, during all that torture stuff. So I guess I just beat myself up mentally. I don't feel like an inspiration. I feel like somebody trying to stay alive by any fucking means necessary. I do not want to die today. I will not die today. I will not let the demons make me take myself by my own hand from the parasites in my brain and everything else. Or even medically, when you've had that many fucking seizures and just like, man, I just want it to stop. But not today. And hopefully not tomorrow. Like it doesn't get a win. I've fought too many battles against these parasites and the shit this tick did to me to let it win. And right now, you know, it's for me, my main journey this summer, and this is no bullshit, is to make sure my fiance is happy. She's put up with a lot of shit through my medical stuff. You know, everything in this world revolves around my medical stuff. I got to make sure she's happy. Make sure she's as happy as she can be. The caretakers of sick people live a rough life, constantly taking care of them. My leg disease, I can't pack weight. And with this port in my chest, I can't pack weight. It makes me not feel like a man to watch her pack the water. And then I can get up there, I can help water. I can't pack it, you know, and that shit's hard on me. So I don't know. Sometimes when people say like you're an inspiration, I'm like, man, I can't even pack their own fucking water. Like it hurts. But yet at the same point, I talk about my journey openly. The medical nightmare, suicide attempts to get out of this life during this shit from the tick stuff. What it done to me, the parasites inside my brain. I mean, parasites inside your brain is a bad thing. I mean, it controls behavior, it controls actions, and I don't want nothing to have control over me. I mean, I'm trying to use willpower to overcome something that's a lot bigger. So I know that when I make certain posts about mental health, I get tons of DMs on people that are sick or people that are broken that they don't have, they say, the courage to say that. I don't think it's courage. I'm stuck in Michigan. I ain't got no family. I ain't got no real friend. I got to talk to somebody. I got to get it out. And I just say it on Instagram. Like, I'm fucking scared. I'm going into this hospital. If I don't come out today, my woman's left alone. Like, it's fucking fear. Now I keep getting up and going through, and I keep deciding to try to investigate, research this shit, and apply it, because I can't just sit here and wait. But to be an inspiration, I'm a fuck up, like mentally speaking. Now I am a warrior, though. Now I will take that mantle all day long. I get up, I fight every day. This is my journey. Now, hopefully, I get a little better, and maybe this will make it sound more sensible. I would just expect anybody to do the same damn thing. You're sick, your loved one's sick, your woman's sick, your dad's sick, to do everything you fucking can to try to fix the situation. You know, I don't know. I would just expect anybody to do that. I just don't want to die today. It's selfish. And now, the few times that I have felt that way is more based off parasitic things or parasites trying to control thoughts. That's been horrible. I stay in therapy. I talk to people about mental health matters. Mental health fucking matters. There should not be a stigma behind mental health. People need to talk about this shit more. Support each other. Compassion and empathy is the only thing that gets me through. That's why I try to embrace the hippie stuff, because it is the truth. Love and healing is the only thing that really makes things good. I'm trying not to be negative. I don't want to be involved in any drama with anybody for any reason. I'm even trying to watch on bad days what type of input goes in my brain. Now, I have sound sensitivity issues, so I wear headphones. 90% of the time people see me, I've got on Beats by Dre headphones, walking around doing my own thing. I even have to watch which type of input music I put into my brain during different moods. I'm out here digging fuel culture beds, sick and disabled. I'm going to listen to some fucking hardcore rap, DMX, whatever. I need to get angry with this hole to dig this hole. I've had a bunch of seizures, and I got to watch my thought process. I'm listening to Motown. I'm listening to happy R&B songs from back in the day. I'm listening to classical music, whatever I got to change that brainwave. This journey's been fucking rough. I just share it with people because I know other people are scared to death, and I know they're sick. I fight for sick people. Sick people are my people. Sick and broken fucking people. I know so many people bit by ticks, but now it's not just ticks, it's all kinds of things that they've dealt with trauma where they don't get no help from doctors, man. And this is a long haul journey for me. This is for life. And everybody else wants to see that 3 months to 6 months sickness. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he got cancer, he got better, or he did not. You know, when it goes this long, I've lost a lot of friends. Actually, I've lost all the friends from back in Kentucky, the main ones, family, people that don't understand this journey, or cannabis or medicine or anything of that nature. People want a quick fix. They don't realize things takes time. And I know a lot of people follow me and a lot of people love me. I'm working on loving myself right now. I went through a lot of trauma, you know, through all these different events. It's not easy just to let it all go. I've handed doctors over $250,000 over 4 years. I've had to get on fucking Instagram and beg motherfuckers for $5 to stay alive. That shit becomes difficult, bro. Like, I have went out and killed myself body wise to never ask nobody for money. Growing those monsters and pushing them that hard. Going out there and doing stuff that that I had to do to make sure that I could pay medical bills. And living in Kentucky, I couldn't do that. And I mean, this became life or death for me. So, you know, it's very difficult to whore yourself out online to ask people to donate a couple dollars to stay alive. And it's mentally difficult. And I'm fine right now. I mean, we're fine financially, we're fine in every aspect. But there were times I wasn't. And it does become difficult. I had friends, I had people, Emerald Mountain, Alchemy of Awesome, Blockchain Novelties, Mean Gene from Mendocino, Seeds Here Now, Seattle Chronic Seeds, Dark Horse Genetics. All these people ran auctions for me, raised tons of money for doctors at different points of surgeries and different things. And I try to give back. Sick people reach out to me with seeds, I take care of that shit. I try to let all this research go out there. I try to give back constantly, but it's really mentally affecting to a human being that always works so hard in their life to ask people for things because medical bills, they come up quick. And if anybody follows my journey, they know I'm doing fine one day and then shit has hit the fan and I'm in hospitals and got every major doctor working on me just out of the blue. So trying to get my body stable to where we don't have as many of these emergencies, learning not to push my body so hard, which that's a double-edged sword. If you don't push your body that hard, like you're not going to have no money to pay the doctors. So this year I'm taking it fucking easy. I don't care what happens. I'm more focused on planting flowers and just being happy and out there just smiling. Life is beautiful. I want to be a part of it, especially when the parasites aren't in my brain telling me otherwise. Or the damage from the parasites, even that is. So, but see, even right now, like my legs, I have a leg disease. I just got a pace. I'll just walk around different rooms. It drives my fiance crazy, but it's the only way to keep. If I sit still too long, this condition, stiff man syndrome, it actually locks the body up. So if I sit down too long, I'll lock up. If I move, I stay moving. It keeps things okay. So it has been a journey figuring all this shit out, especially when all my diseases are one-ofs, like the Powassan virus, meningococcal, and encephalitis. I'm the only one that ever lived out of that. Out of stiff man syndrome, I think there's 19,000 cases in America. They really don't know what to do with this shit. So at this point, if anybody's watching this that has stiff man syndrome, get at me at Lime Rising Farms Nick on Instagram. I'd love to see what's helping you. I'll tell you what's helping me. We can bounce ideas off each other. I get people send me messages all the time like, this will help your Lyme disease. And I don't try to be rude. I don't. If I don't know you qualified to talk to me about this stuff, I just don't listen to it. Like, you got to put in work for me to listen to you on this stuff, not just like, yo, my friend took stevia, cure their Lyme disease. And I'm just like, thank you for the information. Have a wonderful day. Because I know they mean it nice. But I need people to understand, to sick people, if you don't know what the hell you're talking about, don't jump into that conversation, because what you're doing is spreading false hope, and you mean it out of niceness. Like, you got what I'm saying there? Like, yo, my friend did this or that, and it helped them. But if you really don't know what you're talking about, but step out of that conversation, because false hope, information, things like that, it can all, you just don't want to put that on people, you know. I try to be real careful with all sick people that I talk to, because they can take things too hopeful. They need to stay alive. They are very dependent on this. I'm not telling you RSO is going to cure you. I'm not telling you shit's even going to fix you, but it did for me. And if you follow this protocol and you get with this herbal lady up in Maine. I hate to call her out right now because the FDA are funny on that shit when you make medical claims on stuff. Dragonfly Earth Medicine, microcaps, Dragonfly Earth Medicine, they don't give a shit. Their stuff works. Holler at them. You can hit me up individually. I can tell you the lady to hit up on making flower essences, herbal supplements, things of that nature for you. At Trey Water Organics is another one. Man, these people keep me functioning outside of my own research and work. And when I got so sick that I was in the hospital and couldn't keep making me RSO, it was these guys that stepped up. Terp Wizard, up here in Michigan, started cooking me up RSO. He's the only person that's ever made me RSO that I took it from, that I didn't do myself, because I trust his process. He's very organic. He's very clean in all the stuff he does. He's the only guy that processes any rosin, hash, any of that shit for me. All this stuff matters. I'm just saying, if you're talking to sick people, if you're a caretaker to sick people, compassion and empathy go a long way, because you see it on the surface. You don't see it underneath the surface. You don't see what hell they go through in the hospital. You don't see what misleading hope they go through. So it just becomes difficult. What are you doing, puppy? One of the older guys here, he's out of my competition, female Brooklyn, that I won the she's passed away since, but she won the AKC National Championship 2009. So that was a huge deal for me back in the day, being a national champion. But any other questions you got for me, dude? I just get like in my head, I just go everywhere. So.
Oh no, it's been an amazing conversation, to be honest with you, and then it's been pretty on point all the way through. And I that's why I said earlier on about medical versus rec. You know, I'm really worried that with recreational making it first, and possibly national before any kind of medical impact is really had a chance to dig in, really bothers me some, because I've lost a lot of people in my family pharmaceutical drugs. I've lost a lot of friends pharmaceutical drugs. I've seen the power, that the healing power of cannabis, and I'm all in. I'm all in with it, to be honest with you. But what I'm afraid of is, all these people that even here in Michigan, brother, fucking once we went rec, all them I knew tons of people across the board that had medical license, and then all of a sudden, oh, I don't need to spend that money. It doesn't. It's yeah, it does matter. It does matter, because with those numbers, those cards being pulled means interest, means backing, means funding for medical research in
Right.
cannabis. And as those recreational goes and them numbers dwindle, I'm afraid that research money, that interest, is going to kind of fall back down as well. It's And then not
Well,
only
I will
that,
say the
I'm
one thing
afraid
which
that
I
once recreational goes across, they're going to try to take the grow from us. Is
agree.
my other
I
worry.
understand what you're saying. The only positive thing I have to say on if it federally legalization means federal use in hospitals. Federal legalization means that when I walk in there with the doctor's prescription, then they can no longer say you can't use this in the hospital. Then that means that they get to research at university hospitals that cannot use cannabis right now because it's federally illegal. That they are actually able to apply the research, they even do research, if that makes any sense. The neurologist that particularly that I had, I'm not even going to throw her under the bus and say which hospital. She was all for everything I was doing. She could also lose her license off that research. Um, so if it goes federally legal, then that research aspect gets to go into play. But then the medical patients go out and goes back into a drug like from the public perception, just like Anheuser-Busch, Budweiser beer. Like, oh, this is medical, it's beer. I mean, marijuana is just something to get you high, get you whatever. That's why it's important for the medical community to always stay there, speak up, talk on this shit, show research, show results, because this has to be respected more so than just this is a plant you can get high off of. There's tons. I microdose every day. I never want to get high off mushrooms. Not anymore. I'm 41 years old. I also have seizures. So my seizures, when I go into them, are there are certain points and aspects of the seizure that are like being on a mushroom trip, and well, that plus taking all the drugs combined at once. That scaled me back from wanting to try a lot, or not try. I did all that shit, high school, college, everything else. It just makes it to where that's not just something I want to experience. I love bourbon. I don't want to get drunk from it. I don't ever want to stumble. That's what stumbling is, something that comes to me from seizures. Um, so I don't want to lose that control. Um, so that's been a challenge, of learning what to do that actually doesn't. I mean, I love the buzz marijuana gives me if it gives me one, but mushrooms and things of that nature, I'm microdose. I'm just trying to get the effects without everything else. We're trying to get the medical benefits without everything else. It's just important at this point that people that actually have research capabilities, data, and can document this shit, that once this does go federally legal, this is able to be applied in colleges, universities, and hospitals. And most of these teaching hospitals where doctors actually learn, it's all through university situations. They're federally grant approved, they're federally insured, and they just can't have any marijuana use at all right now with it scheduled the way it is. Which is blindfold. I mean, just absolutely stupid. They let me drink a fucking beer and ride a treadmill to induce a seizure. I looked it up everywhere to find where that was FDA approved and kept challenging the doctors. I think that's why they gave me my medicine back the last day. I mean, I would keep challenging these people intelligently, on this shit don't make no sense. Like, I'm not stupid. You can't talk to me that way. They give me melatonin. I like melatonin. It helps me sleep, but it's not FDA approved. So how are you going to give me this that's not FDA approved, but then say I can't take the cannabis? So yeah, with it going legal, like I know, like in California, they lost their med program, but certain people who wrote those laws allowed that shit to happen. Michigan, I love the fact Michigan, man, anytime stuff happens in Michigan, they shut that shit down so quick. I mean, the caretakers in this program up here, you guys that laid this groundwork for me to be able to move here, kudos to you all, man, because you all jump on shit quick. I mean, they try to take away the caregiver program. Lord, companies are then hollering for the head of that to be fired and everything else because of the backlash that people put on it. Michigan is protecting its own growers, and as long as they keep doing that and the medical marijuana patients' rights, I think Michigan will be fine. And Michigan only has to worry about Michigan. Um, and that's all states on the individual marijuana rights till this goes federal legal. And I got a little bit of understanding on bourbon and the distilling industry. like in bourbon, they have the 3-tier system almost like they do in California. You got to take your fucking product, sell it to a middleman for them to sell it to dispensaries. Like Four Roses Distillery in Kentucky has to take their bourbon, sell it to the distributor. It actually has to be moved off their location to the distributor, then shipped back for them to sell it at their own, like a gift shop there at the distillery. It's insane the amount of wasted money on gasoline, employees, trucks, everything to truck it to a warehouse, a secure bonded warehouse, and then truck it back. All these little laws are going to pop up in cannabis, and they do have that shit in California now. And Michigan is lucky that they don't have to deal with a lot of that stuff. And it's going to take everybody in Michigan keep fighting for this stuff, just like Oklahoma. People keep fighting for their stuff to not lose rights that have already been established. It don't matter to me in the end of the right or end of the day. I'm doing whatever I got to do to stay alive. I'm going to hunt whatever strains I got to hunt to stay alive. But in what you're saying, I do get it, because you see certain states lose their whole medical programs once it went wreck. But once it goes federally legal, the hospitals can't do nothing. They have to accept research. They have to apply research then. I love that New York made marijuana, like anywhere they smoke cigarettes, you're allowed to smoke marijuana. That's how it should be. I'm from Kentucky, where you can still smoke cigarettes in certain restaurants. The restaurant owners will just pay a fine. It's set up there. They charge you for an ashtray, so that money goes to the damn fine. So there are ways to circumvent all that kind of, so to speak. It's just up to individual state rights to hold on to their stuff, because I got a feeling that what's going to happen if it goes federally legal, and then like a state like Kentucky has never even took it on. So I would assume it would be like the wet and dry laws back in Kentucky, where some counties can sell alcohol and other counties cannot. Some states be able to sell marijuana, others can. I don't know how it's going to end up playing out, but I do expect to see it federally legal in the next 24 months. They need the money this was the only money that came in for certain states during COVID shit. Realistically, they even talked about, they made marijuana workers essential workers in Michigan, but yet I couldn't use it at the hospital. It's all ludicrous. So, I don't know how this is all going to play out. In the end, you already see it, like cannabis used to be outlaws, and now it ain't outlaws really in this industry as much as it used to be. And that hurts my soul, man. Like to the core, that fucking hurts my soul. Outside of all the medical shit, the Lyme disease shit, the testing, everything else, outlaws started this stuff. Outlaw was what I was first. There needs to be the old school heads need to keep the traditions and all that stuff alive in this. I'm starting to ramble, dude. It's late and everything, and with my brain stuff, I should probably get off here soon. I love being on here and everything, but I just don't want to start rambling where I get, I just jump all kinds of subjects. We start talking about basketball cards and tennis shoes in a minute, man. I'll get all over the place. So, I love being on here, man. I appreciate getting on here. Man, I'd love to link up in real life up here in Michigan, man. We link up through the DMs and come down here to kind of see the hugelkultur beds and everything and what we do, and hell, maybe we can show that on the video or something sometime. But to medical people out there, y'all got a warrior in me. You need help, I'm here. I try to answer all the questions I can. Understand I'm battling my own medical journey. There's weeks I get over 200, 300 DMs from sick people all over the place. We try to go through this shit. Anybody ever got any questions on my breeding, they can hit me up. I try to be real transparent on all that shit. On the way we grow, we're DemPure certified. Part of that mantra is to teach and help other people get DemPure certified. If you ever send me a message, I read it and didn't respond, send it again. That means I read it in an awkward time with my brain. I meant to respond or even thought I did and just didn't. I appreciate all the support from the marijuana community. I do appreciate. I don't want to say people saying I'm an inspiration. I am a warrior, and I get why they can say that, but really, I'm just trying to stay alive. I'm trying to lay the groundwork for other people to be able to have better benefits quicker from medical marijuana than I did. Without this plan, I would not be here. It's just a major factor in everything that I do. And I know that there's other people out there that this could benefit greatly, and they've been lied to, they've been misled, they've been given false information from doctors, and they're taking 17 pills a fucking day. And I get you on some RSO, we're going to cut that shit out. And I don't claim to be a doctor. I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn, but I've been in enough fucking rooms with doctors to know I'm the smartest person in the room half the time, because these people work off a cookie cutter recipe. If you don't have this, or this, they don't know what to fucking do. They were taught very little in med school. It was just about prescribing the same damn medications over and over again. I'm more than happy to help anybody. Y'all just hit me up. Much love for having me on here, dude. I really do appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate it. And I, from man to man, I think I kind of saved you from giving you another 20 reasons why I think people fucking could follow along. And but
Man,
in short here, I heard you use the word selfish. What you're doing is not selfish. Everything that you're doing shows other people they can do it. Selfishness would have fucking cowered up and let this shit fucking beat you, and you not fucking putting up a fight. That would have been selfish. What you're doing is very respectable and very honorable, my friend. Before you get going, man, I'd like to tell you a couple things about about the show here. This thing does go on mostly every night. I've been trying to do this every night. I'm honored to say most of the people that you mentioned tonight, other than Dragonfly, I've had on the show.
hell yeah.
I'm
seen
honored
a bunch of them.
to have you put you right there with them.
I appreciate that,
With the
man. I
rest of
stand on the backs of giants. We all do. So, and it's just important.
Basically, how the show goes every night. Go ahead, my friend.
Oh no, you're good, man. I just want to always recognize that we all stand on the backs of giants. The guys that grew the generation before us, the guys that grew the generation before that. I put a lot of emotion towards this shit. Like, I'm sitting in here and I'm looking at this Black Line Reserve Testarossa Pam I'm about to put out, and I'm emotional. From dogs, I want to learn my lineage. I can trace everybody back to the original Horon von Grafrath, all the SV books, all that stuff. You got to think that some of this shit we're smoking, some random guy smuggled, hidden in fucking clothes, whatever, seeds back from Afghanistan, wherever. Once upon a time, Thailand, fucking wherever they came from, Mexico, and that lineage is still going today in gelato, cookies, whatever popular strain it is today that people are going nuts over. Once upon a time, somebody smuggled that shit over mountains, into trains, through customs, scared to death at any point they were going to hit some crazy fucking prison sentence to bring these plants today here. And that's what I talk about, remembering the culture. And I'm not going to be one of those guys, kids today. Well, fucking kids today. If you never grew up with it illegal, you don't understand the sacrifice the giants before you, whose backs you are standing on, put in. Pay respect to those men. That is very, very important where I come from. Honor, loyalty, respect. We all learn from these guys. Me, you, everybody under this nature. I look behind you, and some dude one day said, I'm going to design these fucking HPS lamps. I'm going to design whatever. I'm going to convert this into growing stuff. All these people went out on a limb to do this shit. And even you putting this podcast out every day. Podcasts are how I found this information out about powdery mildew resistant strains in the beginning. this shit all makes its play, and it's very, very important. The information is out there. People just got to sort through to find it. And I challenge you all to do that. If you're sick on something, don't just listen to the doctor. Fucking research. There is shit out there. You think all of a sudden they only began treating stuff in the last 80 years of Western medicine? This for the entire 4,000 or 5,000 years of humans running around everywhere that they didn't know other shit to do with stuff, or however long we've been on this planet. I just think it's important for people to do their own research, respect the generations, and try to pay it forward. Because without compassion and empathy, without understanding other people going through it and trying to help, you ain't going to get anywhere. And that's really, man, like what I'm about. If I hadn't called myself Lime Rising, because I'm like rising back out of this Lime, this Compassion and Empathy Farms would have been the name of it. I appreciate getting to come on here, man. Just that anybody gives a shit about my journey. Just random shit. And I've been through it with this plant for, fuck, man, 27 years. And that's hard to believe. Like, a relationship with this plant, and in the end, it saved my life. And some of the stuff I want to bring up about the people you've had on the show, man, to everybody out there, that information's out there. You just got to sort through it. So much great information and so many different experiences that people have. You just have to learn from them. But I didn't mean to interrupt you a minute. I just get going on my tangent. So.
No, actually, I'd rather listen to you. I don't want it to end. I'm just trying. I was just trying to give you the outs there, my friend, and because this been a great episode. I can't wait to get you back. To be honest with you, there was a lot of questions in chat that I kind of let go because I don't like to interrupt the conversation. I love you. You get so much more in a genuine story out of somebody letting them ramble like that versus somebody chiming in and cutting them off throughout the whole point. You never get to the person on the other side there never gets to complete the story. You know what I mean? With somebody chiming in, you let somebody just go, you learn so much more about them and what they're passionate about. I love the rambles. I'd sit here and let you go as long as you want to go.
I
Other
appreciate
than you
my
say you're getting
fiance.
spacey and tired, I would sit here through another fucking couple hours, to be honest with you, and love every minute of it.
Well,
So
shit, man, I can get
basically,
back
what
on
I
here
want to tell you
anytime you
before
want to
you
have
go,
me,
though,
bro. My fiance would tell you that she's like, "Will you ever shut up so I can
well,
get edgy and otherwise?" And half of it's the brain injury, man. Like, if I don't say what I'm saying now, I'm gonna forget it in 2 seconds. And then in the middle of it, I'll think about something random, and I'll be like, "Hey, like this goofy ass dog. Like, this is the non-German Shepherd on the couch. Is this not the most gargoyle looking dog you've ever seen in your life? This is my dad's dog. When she got sick, I took her on." But see, that's what I'm talking about. My brain just goes random constantly. But, well, brother, man, it's 2:23 my time. I got to get up early to run fluids and go to a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so I can try to do
things.
Yeah.
2 things before you go, my
Absolutely.
friend. Just 2 things.
Oh, you're good,
All
man.
right. The rundown of the show basically usually goes, I kick it off at 11:30 with a guest. The guest has open reign of the night, so if they want to walk it down to 4:20 when the show cuts off, hell, that's fine with me. But if it doesn't go that far, just like tonight, I usually give it a couple minutes break and I do what I call is the wormhole. Now the wormhole is open to all the past guests, which now means you. The Zoom invitation that I sent you is always good. You do not need an invitation unless we're gonna do like another special episode where we just talk, me and you.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need an invitation. That thing works anytime. You up at 3 o'clock in the morning, fucking phone says wormhole, and we're talking about something that interests you. Grab that fucking phone. Come on,
yeah, man.
we'd be on it.
Because I like to just ramble and chat. And man, I like it because I am up here in Michigan where we're not from our whole life. We don't have people to always talk to. And sometimes I like to jump on and talk about breeding philosophies and different growing ways and stuff like that. And not just my journey of being sick, but how we grow and how we breed. Um, I'm proud to say my fiance is one of the best growers there is. And she's only got 3 years experience of this. She's got years of experience growing different plants and things of that nature, but she came into this with the mindset of compassion and trying to help me. And it's just all she does. She gave up an insurance agency job. She had college degrees on for me when I got sick, and the plant respects her because of that. And I'm a lot more than just a sick guy, and I battle with that shit mentally. Because the first thing that I think people look at me at now is there's the dude that got bit by a tick. Not, that's one of the best. That guy's going to be one of the best breeders in the world. Or that's a great grower. That was one of the best German Shepherd trainers that ever did do it. Or that was one of the best bourbon pickers. So it's important for me or any sick person out there listening to have an identity outside of their sickness. And sometimes when people say I'm an inspiration, it's not that I don't. Man, you get low with this shit sometimes. You get real low mentally. And the trauma that happened, getting beat up by the police in the hospital fucked me up worse than anything my entire life. Absolutely worse than anything. 7 men on one. I was 95, 98 pounds. I begged for compassion and empathy from them. During the 2 hours, I was tortured and harassed and bullied and beaten on in that room with the door closed in ICU. But once they realized who I was, like, it was handcuffs off and, oh, it's okay, we're sorry, we didn't know you. We didn't know. That shit'll fuck you up and leave you scarred. And to talk to people about that stuff now, I made it a mission to talk about mental health matters this year, not just Lyme disease, but that mental health matters. And if people are struggling, hit me up. I've been through the ringer, and I try to battle mental health, fighting parasites in my brain. If you could battle it fighting that, you can battle it doing anything, man. So mainly I just want people to know that I am there for sick people. You need help, you need seeds, you need guidance. I'll try to do whatever I can within the realms of why I'm treating and taking care of myself, because trying to answer that many sick people, I can take on their problems. You know what I mean? Like having compassion and empathy for people, you take on their shit, and I just have to be careful on that stuff. But man, I really like to link and have you come down here and check everything out sometime. So
Sounds like I'm only about an hour from you, just guesstimating where you've talked about. I mean,
oh
I'm
yeah,
just south of
offline, I'll
Prairie
send you
Lake.
my number. We'll call each other, and I'll tell you where I'm at. You can come on down and check everything out. I'd love to have you down, but um, man, I'm man. Anytime you want to have me back on, I'm down to come, and I'll jump on these things. A lot of time I end up at this time at night, just off medical reasons or anything else, where I don't even go to bed till this time at night. It's funny. I've took RSO for so long now that now when I take it, I took 3 grams tonight right before this phone conversation. Almost wires me up, but now after a couple hours, it'll make that decline to where it's like, oh, okay, now I'm sleepy and I'm hungry. The best part about RSO is once I go to sleep every night, I wake up about 6 a.m. and just destroy food, like sound asleep. And sometimes that's the only calorie intake I'll take in all day. That's another massive benefit of the RSO. So, I'm sorry I didn't see any of the chat questions or stuff. I'll check this out tomorrow. But if anybody's got any questions, I'm down to help, man. And I appreciate you having me on, dude. So
I greatly appreciate it. The one last thing I'd like to get from you is the soundbite Basically, what I'm looking for in my words is, hey, this is Eagle, and I'm on fucking talking shit with Eagle, episode 425. You can add whatever you want to it. I record this. This is the only portion I personally record, kind of for a commercial. Yeah, there you go.
I got it. Tell me what to say one more time, man. I caught that kind of.
Basically, you're on fucking talking shit with Eagle, episode 425. You can add whatever you want after that.
Good deal, man. I'm on fucking talking shit with Eagle, episode 425. I had a blast. This dude really cares about the medical community. You can find me at Lime Rising Farms on Instagram. Man, I had a blast, dude. I don't know if I said that right. I still have a brain relay sometimes when I have to memorize that many words. One last thing I'll say, like on the brain thing. I think it was last week or something. I've lived here for 18 months. I made it to Applebee's without using the GPS. It's 2 turns out of my driveway. Like I live out in the country, but I just got to turn once and then go like 6 miles and then turn again and then go straight for like 8 miles and I'm there. My brain's getting a little better after whatever happened because I did it without GPS the other day, dude, and I was so fucking tickled. And I listen to music constantly, and for me to be able to memorize a song, like a new song I see or I hear, man, I get so excited about that shit because my brain just has difficulty. But the only benefit to it is I can watch a movie and then watch it 3 months later. And I'm like, I've never seen this shit before. So that pays off, I guess. I just watch Big Bang Theory over and over again. It just keeps making me laugh. But dude, if you can't laugh out of this shit, I don't know what you're gonna do. So, who would ever thought a tick would do all this shit to a human being? I got bit so many times as a kid, I just can't fathom it. But man, I'm gonna hop off here and go check on my old lady. I think she done went to bed and see if I can't get some food. And I'd love to do this again, bro. Are you coming down to Gene Traders by any chance?
No, not this round. Not this round. I wish I could make it, but not this round.
I got you. I'm going to be there with a bunch of beans, I believe, in the Dark Horse booth with BK Roller. That's family, like actual family. So from Dark Horse crew. And
Dark Horse has been on the show too.
I haven't caught that one. And I can't drive right now. They pulled my license from seizures, but my homie's taking me down there. So I'm definitely, it looks like going to be that way. And looking forward to seeing people, man. I'm glad to start seeing people again. I got a little brutal over the last year with my autoimmune disease. I really couldn't go out and take that chance. I was wearing masks before COVID shit, like when I'm in massive areas, because I just catch every cold, every flu with my autoimmune shit. But I don't care, man. The socialization is better for the mental health than everything else. And I got to focus on that at this point. So seeing people is always good for the soul.
Well, brother, you get that rest. Make sure and take care of that old lady. You're right, man. You're definitely on the right path on that shit. And well, another thing I say around here, I end every show. I don't know if you've caught the ending of any of these shows, but one thing I'm very firm about is random acts of kindness, man. And it seems like you've picked up on that. And sometimes, as I say every night, man, some people just need it. Some people are afraid to ask for it. And so don't make people ask. Reach out there and help.
Exactly. And I would like to tell people to normalize mental health. Go to therapy. Everybody. Doesn't matter if you got all your shit together. Therapy will make you get your shit back together. I started going to therapy 10 years ago based off dog training things. When you go to compete and there's 5,000-6,000 people standing out there watching you and you want to bomb it on the field and the dog picks up all that energy from you. I would get nervous. So I found a therapist. Mental health matters. Work on that shit. If you see a problem, address the problem, try to fix the problem. For a long time, I would let the problem consume me. I'm really trying to fix shit that is in front of me. Mental health stuff is no joke. Doesn't matter if it's brought on by trauma, life experiences, genetics, anything. You can work on that shit. Try to be better today than you were. And you talk about random acts of kindness, man. Be nice to fucking somebody today. This shit matters. World needs love. Love is the only thing that keeps me going. I talked about earlier, like, I don't want no drama. I don't want no negativity in my life. I just can't handle it. I just want to be happy, positive vibes only, man. Like, help people out. It's not hard. Do stuff knowing nothing's going to come back to you. That do stuff without telling people you done shit. Understand, if you help people, most sick people, they have no fucking resources. I tell you, anybody out there that is watching this, there is a lady, Eclectic Alchemy, on Instagram. She does a thing where she makes medicine for sick people that cannot afford it. She asks other people to donate some of the materials, or Patreon club shit. Do stuff like that. It will make you feel better. There are people suffering and sick that literally, I was paying $100 a gram for RSO when my journey began. Talking about $300 to $400 a day. That's $2,100 a week, man. I'm not joking. This shit gets fucking expensive. There are people out there sitting on pounds of trim. Turn that shit into RSO and give it away. Give it away. It's, 10% of your outdoor crop, turn into RSO, put that stuff out into the world. We're the only ones that are going to help people, man. If we don't do it, then who the hell is going to help you when you need it? You got to lay that foundation other places. Karma. And man, I'm telling you, I'm stuck on this karma shit. I did something fucked up to this world to get this tick bite. I don't know what it was. I've been on a journey for 4 years to figure it out. Whatever it was, I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix it. Like, my therapist tells me I'm wrong in that thinking, but something, life is what you make it. I'm trying to do better, even despite the mental illness and everything else. I'm telling you guys, if you need somebody, if you're in Michigan, man, you need RSO, man, you fucking get a hold of me. That's all I'm gonna say on that subject. I don't care where you are. You need RSO, you got what I'm saying. So people should not go without medicine. It's RSO, man. I mean, this is what God intended this stuff for. These plants, everything else. You can't tell me this shit was made in this perfect harmony. And I cuss a lot, and I apologize. I ain't gonna apologize to a dude whose show is called Fucking Talking Shit with Eagle. But to all the other people out there that don't cuss a lot, I got a brain injury. I cuss nonstop. Literally nonstop. I can't, there's no filter there. I can't control it. It's like Tourette's. But help people out, man. Be fucking nice to each other, but don't take no shit in the process. You don't need anybody else's problems to become yours. Know your boundaries, know your limits. I try to help people, but you get pushy with me, I'm backing off. I'm doing this out of the kindness of my heart. Like, and when I have to focus on my health, like, I got to focus on my health. But just be nice to people, man. It's so fucking hard to be angry. It's so easier to be nice. And I need you to understand this, coming from the biggest asshole in the world at one point. I'm trying to do better every day. Just be nice to people. Just be nice. That's pretty much it, brother. I'm down to come on anytime. You just holler at me. We're going to link up soon. So, shit, I'm always down to go explore Michigan. It's amazing living in a state that's this beautiful. All I miss is the hills. Like, I'm not on the west side or anything that's got a little bit more hilly and everything like Kentucky is. But I love exploring Michigan. It's gorgeous. I still haven't made up to Traverse City. I'm going to do that at some point, man.
I'm on your way there. I'm on your way there. You head to Traverse City. You
I'm
gotta go
going
right
to,
by
man.
me.
It's funny because I moved here and I didn't know the name of the towns. Like, I was calling Cleo, then Clio before I figured out the names, and just trying to figure out like Traverse City. I don't know, but I'm gonna go check it out. But well, brother, man, you have me on anytime. I'm down to jump on any of these calls if I'm up. We'll talk soon, and much love for having me on here, man.
Thank you, man. This quickly moved up to be one of my favorite episodes.
I really appreciate that, dude. You have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you soon.
You have a good one.
Later.
Thank you. You guys that are watching on, the 88 of you, man, thank you for hanging in there and watching this amazing episode. And I took away a lot of this as from on a personal aspect. Took a lot of weight, man. It was a pleasure to meet Nick tonight, and I hope to meet him firsthand sometime in the future. And look very much forward to seeing him in the wormhole. Well, thank you guys again for tuning in. As you guys do hopefully know the deal, random acts of kindness do save lives. I'm a living, breathing example of that, and I am not afraid to admit that. Hopefully, I'll see you guys in a few in the wormhole. If not, thank you for your time. I am